If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. Welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is our live call and talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And we're back to start our journey to season 2 of the Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. You know, it's been a nice break. Hopefully all of you have had a good break from the end of the season. But today we're going to be catching up. Basically, this was my excuse to catch up on everything was, let's do a live show all about catching up on all the news. You've seen a lot of it come out. You've probably seen most of these if you've been following this still every single day. Though if you haven't been, then maybe you haven't heard about a lot of this stuff. So we're going to open call lines pretty early on. We're going to give away 3 mugs tonight because we've been missing for 2 weeks. And our last show, we didn't give away a mug. So it's going to be a really casual show tonight. Just have fun talking, doing some polls. And to do that with me is my good buddy. Let me welcome Brian the Genius from Barside Chats. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Matt?
Good. You know, our heads kind of match in that same height in the camera there. I like that.
I know. It's really nice.
You know, that's really nice.
How
you been?
Are you, not much.
Did you take a break from WoT? Did you kind of after the last episode just kind of chill out and do something else?
I did. I picked up some new books and started reading those and just kind of distracted myself from the Wheel of Time for a while. Watched a lot of my new favorite show is Repair Shop on Netflix and nice. Discovery Plus, and it's just like people fixing up antiques, and it's super zen and super calm, and there's no drama, and it's a wonderfully calming show. So yeah, I took a little bit of a break, but we've been recording Barside Chats episodes, the podcast that you and I do, but every week since the beginning, since the show aired. So I haven't taken too long off.
Yeah, it's been really cathartic. That's been nice. Well, let's give people what they want here, which is let's give them some news. Let's kick it off with some news here, everyone. This first piece of news, some people were concerned that when Lorne Balfe tweeted, "Always sad to finish composing on a project. Amazing musicians and singers made the score come alive. Cheers to season 2." People were worried that meant that Lorne was not coming back, but he's great about interacting here on Twitter. Quickly kind of dispelled that notion and said, "Don't worry, I'm back. It means we've finished season 1." What was your experience with Lorne's work on the Wheel of Time of season 1? Did you appreciate the soundtrack,
phenomenal.
if you will? Yeah,
it's phenomenal. It's usually the best soundtracks are the ones that you don't really pay attention to because the show is just that good. And so, but I did listen to the soundtrack separately. So the second time I watched the show, I really paid attention to it, and it makes every scene work so much better than it otherwise would. I could imagine some soundtracks from other shows, and it's just not working so well. But for this show, it worked great. I think Lauren's brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome to have him back.
Great stuff.
He was so invested in it. I don't, if you've kind of read some of his interviews recently, WoTSeries. We're going to talk about WoTSeries a lot tonight. WoTUp, Nerdist, Decider, a lot of fans out there kind of capturing the news. And I think it was during my interview with Lorne, where he just talked about being a fan of the books, and that he'd actually considered like what the Wheel of Time sounded like. I know people have asked for that interview to be cut out of the trailer watch party. That's 11-hour live stream, whatever he did. I'll try to get that done this week and post that separately because it's a lot of fun. He's great. Now this one maybe depends on how you felt about the costuming. This next piece of news is about costume designer Isis Mussenden. But before we give you the news about that, let's jump to this first poll that I asked everybody in chat here. If you're here with us over on YouTube, you can answer these polls. We do these a lot to the chagrin of like 5% of the people, but 95% seem to kind of enjoy the polls. 240 of you have voted on this. Will season 2 of the Wheel of Time premiere by the end of November 2022? People said yes. 84% believe it will have premiered by the end of November 2022. What's your thought on that? Do you think it will premiere by then?
I think there's a decent chance that it will. I think it's possible. How about you? What do you think?
I feel like that's a little bit too close to Lord of the Rings. I'm feeling like it's a little too close. I'm going to poll everybody here on some of these other ones, Lorne's music and such. But yeah, 84% are kind of on your. I think there's a good chance. I'm still kind of in that December or maybe January. It makes sense. Maybe that holiday weekend, late December, would be a nice one.
Yeah, I was thinking either right after Christmas, January, February. I think March or April is too late, unless they're trying to hit something marketing-wise, like really good. I think November cuts it close to Lord of the Rings, although it's not too close. I don't think it's
okay.
Just...
Let's premiere of season 2 when, and we're gonna say here. What do you think? By July, by what? November?
By December.
Let's say.
Yeah, by July, by December, 2023. Okay.
By July or by December? No, we have to throw something else in there.
You only get 2, right?
Let's do July, November, and February of 2023.
Sure.
Like, where do you kind of range here? Let's see what people think about that. People asked about spoiler levels tonight. We're not going to be spoiling much of the books per se, but we might be theorizing. When people call in, we're going to open the call lines in just like 5 minutes. We want you to call in tonight. We want to chat with you. So if you want to chat with us, tell us what news you're excited about. Kind of tell us about your break from maybe the Wheel of Time, jumping back in, or if you want to give us a theory that you have. But we'll ask people to kind of spoil things or to tell us if they have any spoilers. But we'll stay with the show, kind of where it's at. So for those in here that are worried about book spoilers, please avoid a lot of book spoilers in chat, but I'm not going to make it no book spoilers in chat. That's kind of like a at your own risk tonight in chat. But the show itself, we won't be talking too many. But let's jump to a piece of news here. WoTSeries mentioned that BTLnews.com had mentioned or had an interview with Isis Mussenden, the costume designer, and confirmed that she will not be returning for the Wheel of Time season 2. So Isis will not be coming back. What were your thoughts costuming wise? Did you like kind of what they had come up with for costuming the Wheel of Time?
Almost everybody I thought had an amazing costume. The common critique was that they were too clean. For medieval, or 17th century. I was
about to jump on that. It's not medieval.
yeah, it's like 17th century, like 18th century type era. It was still like almost too clean. Was the common critique. I can kind of see that, but I thought all the costumes were amazing. I was particularly entranced by the Aes Sedai costumes, especially Moraine's and Siuan's. They just blew me away. And then you add in like Lan's and the Faldarans had really unique, distinctive costuming. I thought it was really, really well done. I'm really interested to see what Sharon Gilham will do in season 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's also, WoTSeries mentioned that Sharon Gilham, they said upgrading Sharon Gilham from likely to definitely working on Wheel of Time as season 2 costume designer. They had shown this previous tweet back from June 7th, 2021, where they had noticed before this was removed, I think, had Wheel of Time in the credits here. So nice job to our friends over at WoTSeries for capturing that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see the show evolve as we get new talent in.
I wonder how much they're going to like keep continuity, like if
Yeah.
are all the costumes for the nationalities defined in season 1 going to carry over to season 2, especially the Shanshan, the Aes Sedai, the Faldarans. Are we going to see more of that? Or is it just going to shift? Is it going to be a tonal shift? Are they going to be dirtier in season 2? And we're just going to pretend that the clean costumes never happened? I don't know. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen there.
Well, I want to ask you about that. I'm going to end this poll right here. Right now, it's about 200 of you voted on this. Premiere of season 2 when? By November 2022 is still 63%. There's only 28% by February 2023. And then by July of 2022, 9%. There's still some people out there with some hope. We'll cover why there's maybe a little bit of hope out there for the summer here in a little bit. So yeah, but nice snags for the news there from WoTSeries. This is a fun piece of news. I'm going to call this WoT news. I'm a father-in-law. There we go. My son was married recently. Look at these cute kids. There's kids.
It's too cute, man.
Yeah,
too cute.
This is adorable. Yeah, that's just, yeah. Congratulations to the editor reborn, and Tayan's awesome. So
I remember when Taylor was this big,
Yeah, he's bigger now. He's a bigger kid. He's an adult now. But yeah, I'm a father-in-law. I got to kick off basically 2022 as a father-in-law. That's kind of fun.
That's pretty awesome.
So yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. It is awesome. But we call that a little bit of WoT news around here because Taylor is a huge part of now the community and part of the show. Like I said, this is going to be a call-in talk show tonight. If you want to give us a call, you can give us a call at 1-313-825-5968. That's 1-313-TALK-WOT. And we'll weave you into our conversation tonight. That's right. That's what I said. We'll weave you into our conversation. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. If you have, again, kind of commentary about the news that's come out, we can jump to a piece of news that you're excited about. Just don't call up with 700 pieces of news. We'll only try to cover one of them and give everybody else a chance to talk too. So before we jump into it, I saw this come in. Thank you very much, Rant Almore. Thank you for the tip. Said, welcome back. Yeah, it's good to be back. Brian, do you feel like you're ready to get back into this? Like kind of on the journey to season 2, or are you still kind of doing some other stuff at the same time? I know obviously we're recording some of our podcast stuff, but are you ready? Are you ready for season 2 of The Wheel of Time?
Yes, I'm super excited about it. Like to me, we talked about this in our most recent episode, which was about how do we feel about spoilers? How do we feel about this kind of information? Does it ruin the show for us or not? And you and myself and Grace and Bain and Shiad, she's one of the mods on chat right now. We talked a little bit about this, and the thing that I think all of us agreed on was that this is the best part of the show. Like this community, this talking about things, this theorizing, imagining what's going to happen in season 2 that's the magic, man. That's the thing that makes this exciting. So season 1 was awesome. I loved it. I'm going to rewatch it. We're still going to talk about it on the podcast. We'll still talk about it on Dusty Wheel, I'm sure. But we're looking forward to season 2. We're planning ahead. We're theorizing. I'm stoked. Let's do it.
I was about to play a trailer for season 2 right here. If you want to see the first trailer, enjoy this for season 2 of The Wheel of Time.
For the Elven Kings, under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords, in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men, doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord, on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
So maybe not.
It's nice of them to focus on, the rings of the Tamerlane for once. I mean, those rings need some attention. I'm glad we got the spinoff we deserved.
Look, this is just a Dark Lord, another age of the Wheel of Time. That's what that is. They were just fast forwarding us to what, like maybe the 6th age, perhaps, 7th age, something like that. Yeah. I I love somebody said, somebody just wrote like, I just jumped on. What just happened? Yeah, that was Lord of the Rings, everybody. That was, I saw a comment come in about that. This was the comment from, this user did not enjoy it. Prime has a weak as F teaser up for the Rings of Power. What did you think about that teaser for Lord of the Rings? You excited for like other shows coming out this year?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, it's beautifully done. I mean, it's, I don't know if it's weak. It doesn't really convey Lord of the Rings the way that we're used to thinking about it. But it has rings in it. And the title of the show is The Rings of Power. So I think it accomplishes its objective. I'd like to see more. I'd like to understand what this show is actually about from a teaser. You know, what's the theme, or who the characters, maybe not who the character is, but what's the general idea? If it's just about the rings, like, okay, you know, we can read the Silmarillion if we want to.
I have. It's been a while. So I'm going to end this poll, by the way, premiere of season 2. When? Everyone, 64% were in that. I'm going to say, you know, are you looking forward to, let's see how much of a Lord of the Rings crowd we have. Are you looking forward to Lord of the Rings? Amazon Prime. And let's bring a first caller in. Let's throw in some actual Wheel of Time news first, everybody. We won't stick you with only that news. But thank you very much. Jessica said, welcome back, Innkeeper, and congrats to Taylor. Yes, huge congrats to Taylor and his bride here. So let me jump to our next piece of news. This one, these are fun. So I don't know if you've read this particular article from our good friends over at WoTSeries, but let me unzoom that here so you can kind of see. Katrina, sorry, let me make that so you can actually read that, everybody. Sorry about that. But they have this down, Karima, sorry, McAdams. There's some speculation, but what's interesting about this, see, when I saw this news come out, everyone was telling me that this was like, I guess I thought I read that this was like the news, that this was, it seems like it's still speculation. Karima McAdams is a London-born actor and model of Moroccan, Irish, and Greek ancestry. She spent a number of her childhood years in Tangier, and there's some speculation that she was actually, I think WoTUp reported, I want to say, that there was a, what do you call it, a casting call for a body double.
Yep.
And this was in August also. And so the idea was that the body double was, I guess, the same size as Karima here. So people are like, she was abroad from London in order to shoot on a secretive new series. So people are wondering if this is our Lanfear. So of course we had to cover that today. What do you think? Have you seen this news? Let me show a picture of Karima here.
I haven't.
Let me throw a picture. You haven't seen this news before, huh? I saw this, and I got tagged on a lot of these from, of course, people that know that I'm, you know, maybe somewhat obsessed with Lanfear. That's a valid. This is a picture that of her.
Is she everything you dreamed of and more?
That's the funny thing about, and people have asked this. I do love the character of Lanfear, and it has zero to do with her looks. So I don't really have, like, in my head, I don't know that I ever had kind of like, I shouldn't say that. Salma
Hayek.
Salma Hayek. So you knew that.
Come on.
You're like, wait a second, I know that that's not true. Yeah. In my head, it was like, yeah, Salma Hayek. But that's because I think Salma Hayek's good looking and Lanfear's like,
I know you too well.
Yeah, you know too, exactly. But yeah, this idea of this being Lanfear, I'm kind of curious what everyone has to say about this. We'll bring our first caller in. Are you looking forward to Lord of the Rings? 78%. Have believed that yes, they're looking forward to Lord of the Rings. I actually thought that was gonna be like a higher percentage. So
I think a lot of people are just you know, like they're just not into it. I don't know that although it is a negative, it's just like a neutral. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I totally get that. Do you think we have seen the actor playing Lanfear? And I'm gonna say yes. I think it's Karima, or yes, it's Natasha, and I'll show a picture of that, or no, or yes, it's someone else, or how about no? There we go. This could have been like a train wreck of a poll, I'll be honest, everybody. It was turning into my infamous crappy polls. So yes, I'll show you a picture of Natasha here. Natasha O'Keefe is also someone that has been cast, but for an unknown role. So let me ask this poll. So this is, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, but Karima. And this is the person that a WoTSeries kind of reported was out on a secretive project, if you will. And then we have Natasha O'Keefe. This was someone, I think that, didn't Rafe announce Natasha? I think Rafe announced Natasha and someone else, I can't remember who it was, it was like it was one of those where they just gave it to us. It was like, why are you just telling us this?
Yeah, so I vaguely remember that.
This is Natasha O'Keefe. So if anyone was wondering, I'm not sure if the poll went through. That's weird. Like I'm seeing my my poll. Did the poll show up over there? For some reason, the poll kind of like hung on my computer. So I'll jump over there again, everybody. But yeah, Natasha O'Keefe or Karima, or do you? Yeah, I'm kind of curious if are you sold on that one of we've seen them, or you kind of think that no, we haven't yet.
I would say Karima looks more like a fantasy character beauty, like she's a little exotic. She's more exotic than Natasha is, but Natasha's bone structure on her face, like she's gorgeous. They're both gorgeous. The question I have is acting skill. Are they good actresses? Are they good enough to do Lanfear justice? Because as we know, Matt, Lanfear is a very, very important character, and we cannot screw this up.
Okay, I'm gonna try this poll again, everybody. There we go. Okay, I promised this poll, and everyone's like, "Where is it at?" I just noticed it finally. It hung there. There you go. Natasha, is Lanfear played by Natasha, Karima, or someone else? So yeah, I'm kind of curious if everyone's out there or kind of come to believe. I promise we'll do this as soon as there's an official announcement about the actor playing Lanfear. We're gonna do a Lanfear week around here. I'm gonna try to do 5 shows, 5 days in a row about Lanfear. that's my goal. Can we live stream from 5 to 10 hours about Lanfear? And the answer is yes. Yes, of course we can. So let's bring our first caller in, and then we'll give you some more news here. Everyone, things you've missed. There's so much more to discuss. By the way, the WoTSeries report also mentioned that they received information indicating that the roles of Suroth and High Lord Turak are likely to appear in season 2. So some rumors there for you. So we have Suroth and High Lord Turak, Lanfear. There's all sorts of other people that that are kind of rumored to show up. I'll kind of break down some who those are. WoTUp reported some just recently. So let's bring our first caller in. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hey, this is Tom.
Tom, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, I'm a first-time caller. It's the first time I've ever gotten through.
Awesome. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How's your 2022 been going?
Oh, it's been pretty good. I was off work for a couple weeks and back to it. But yeah, same old.
Yeah, right. So what are your thoughts?
Anything.
Yeah, go for it.
I didn't have anything about news per se, because I really haven't been following it. But I did have just a small show theory.
Okay, go for it.
I had 2 questions at the end of the show. First question is how in the world is Matt Cawthon going to blow the horn of Valir?
Yes.
And the second question is where are you going, Rand, when he leaves at the end of the last show?
Okay. So I want to hear your theory. So where do you think? Let's jump to the Rand one first. Where do you think Rand is going? Like, what are you buying into? You've probably had your own theories. You've probably heard a bunch of other ones. What's your kind of favorite theory out there?
Well, I haven't heard any of the theories. My thought is that he's on his way to Carrion.
Okay. Yep. Carrion is that's definitely one of them. Some people think that he's going to the Aiel Waste potentially. I think that's too early, but some people maybe think that they're going to try to jump that one forward.
If they're telling the story of the Shanchan, then I would think that they need to do the hunt, the great hunt for the horn. The primary thing is I think that Matt Cawthon is going to have some type of escape episode or partial episode from the White Tower. I think he's going to be captured by Red Sisters He's going to have an encounter with the armament seat, and I think he's going to escape. I'm hoping that they do the fight in the practice yard.
With that being said, I was notified about this in chat. We did just jump to the books, and I forgot to tell everybody we are going to be talking about some of the books here, probably within books, The Great Hunt and The Dragon Reborn, books 2 and 3. Maybe The Shadow Rising, I guess, also. So if you are here, we are talking about those. We did jump into that, and there's your post spoiler warning from me. Sorry about that, everybody. We'll try to stay within the first 4 books. It's a casual night tonight, whatever. So go ahead. You can keep going with your theories.
Well, that's pretty much it. I think that Matt Coffin is going to end up escaping from the White Tower and wind up in Carrion. Okay. And I think he'll meet up with Rand there in the same way. Maybe they'll find each other pretty much the same way that, there's a whole other thing. I don't know how much spoiling I can do, but certain man with a guitar.
Sure. Yeah. If it's within the first 4 books, you can, we've already now warned everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, I kind of think maybe, Matt finds Tom and then Rand finds them both. That would be my hope.
I like it.
That's my theory.
I like it. Good theories. I like it. So I'm going to let you go, and we have other callers here. Tom, thank you very much for calling in. I'm going to talk to Brian here about your theories and kind of poll everybody here in chat. Hopefully you'll stick around with us after this call and jump back into chat with us. But hey, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, stick around. We're giving away 3 mugs tonight. So maybe this will also be your first call and first mug win.
Oh, that would be cool. Thanks.
Sweet. Hey, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Good night.
So so thank you, Hybrid Havoc, for. I was like, he's like, so much for no spoilers. Yeah, that's what happens when we start theorizing tonight. About 250 of you have voted. Is Lanfear played by Natasha, Karima, or someone else? 66% of you believe Karima is going to play Lanfear. And what's interesting about that one is it's still in that kind of speculative kind of range. We know Natasha is part of the show. We don't actually know for sure that Karima is part of the show. So
that's true.
I'm still in that boat of maybe it's because they kind of like announced Natasha, and that was when Rafe said the two characters I think are 2 characters that kind of whose names begin with L or something like that. I don't know. He said something to that effect. Now I have to go back and kind of. This was way before this news tonight that we're going through. So let me jump into some more news. Did you hear this one? WoTUp, again, for those of you, I'll make sure all these links that we're talking about tonight are in the description of this video later. WoTUp channel, John over at WoTUp. If you don't follow him, you should be if you want to know all these kind of pieces of news. Again, WoTSeries and WoTUp are going to basically be bringing you all of the latest pieces of news. And he announced this, that I think he said something like he was assured that Gawain and Galad will be in the show as 2 distinct individuals. I know we had talked about maybe there's a merge there. Did you think we were going to get Gawain and Galad?
I was hoping we would. I think that, given the things that they've cut in the first season, I kind of thought they would cut one or both of them or merge them. But getting both of them, I think, is great news. I think it's great news anytime we get anything that's really close to the books. So I know nobody likes Gawain, but, maybe the show can redeem him, or maybe we'll just hate him even more.
Do you want?
Unless you're John, in which case you love him. So
yeah, that's true. I'm going to throw this one out there. A little Camelin poll. Who are you most excited to see in season 2? Again, we're going to stick with the theme of spoilers through the first 4 books. If you're still around, I'm only giving you Elaine, Gawain, Galad, and Elida. You don't get any of the good ones like Farron and Lanfear in this poll. Everybody, back to our caller's call here. What do you think Matt's? Like, how do you plug Matt back in? Do you think Matt is going to be the person that blows the horn?
I have ideas.
Do you think no? Okay, let me.
Yeah, I have ideas. So one of the last things we saw of Moraine in episode 8 was she asked Amelisa, "Can you?" Or maybe it was episode 7. She said, "Can you send a message to the White Tower to the Red Aja and tell them to look out for Medjum Cawthon?" Right. So the Red Aja is on the lookout for Matt, and we know Matt is back in Tar-Baron. So my theory is that Matt will try to go back to the White Tower to get the dagger because he thinks it's still there. He will get captured by the Red Aja. Now, who has had a run-in with the Red Aja and doesn't like them? Our favorite man with the guitar, Tom. So I think Tom will wind up rescuing Matt from some sort of Red Aja altercation, and then they will run off and escape somewhere, and they will have their own adventure on the way to Kyrian, to Tolman Head, to I don't know, wherever they're going to go next.
Get plugged back. Basically, you think that maybe like the Dragon Reborn, but like from storyline 3 to 2. In other words, it's kind of going to go backwards a little bit in a storyline. Yeah, I'm kind of.
Yeah. I think he's going to. Well, it depends on where Rand's going, because that was the other theory, right? Or the other question. It depends on where Rand's going, because if they're going to merge books 2 and 3, which I think they could, the finale could be Rand and Matt and the Aiel in Tyr, at the Stone of Tyr, and his confrontation with Baalzamon in Tyr could appear in the sky above Falme with Tolman Head, and then you can have all the other characters basically at the end of book 2 at the battle there. So you could potentially close out both books in the same place. So it kind of depends. It kind of depends on where Rand is going, because I think Matt and Rand will wind up together. I think that makes the most sense. And then the rest of them will wind up somewhere else.
By the way, I'm going to mention this. This is the previous news. I forgot to mention this, that about Karima McAdams. Part of the kind of the speculation, the rumor on this, though, is Sarah with WoTSeries spotted that McAdams is followed on social media by a Shamael actor,
cool.
Faraz. So
evidence.
Yeah, there was the evidence. I didn't want to make you feel like there wasn't any other evidence other than that she was gone in a secret, also connected. And that is a way that a lot of stuff is, you're like all of a sudden like, why is Rafe following this random person that we've never heard of? By the way, who are you most excited to see in season 2? There we go. Kira Coveney, Elaine. That's the answer here. Almost 250 of you voted on this one. And most of you I guess Morgaze wasn't there. And, but 4 of the kind of main 5 that I would say from Camelin. Elaine is the one that kind of pulled that. And then Elida. Legawan and Galad only pulled 15% total together. Yeah.
They're not popular characters, dude.
Brando said in chat, who says Ferris is playing a Shamael? Yeah. Funny. Here we go. Shane, thank you very much for the tips. Suggested titles for Matt's interpretive dance routine. I see the 7 Towers of Malkir, or the raffle for the mug has not started yet. That's good, Shane. That was really good.
Hint.
Yeah, I know. By the way, if you're here for one of 3 mugs tonight, I guess, and that's the only reason you're here, you're going to have to wait until a bit later tonight. We'll bring our next caller in here shortly. I did want to mention this piece of news. This one, I think, well, hopefully you've seen this. If you did not see this, then you've missed like a really, really fun story for just kind of WoT fandom. These are kind of those things that kind of rumor, or that kind of the myth, is almost like a mythical thing out there that as fans you think that you can affect the choices made on casting. Like fan casting doesn't work, right? But this is a case where fans suggested, and I'm going to do a terrible job, but it's Shohreh Agadashloo.
Shohreh Agadashloo, yeah.
Aghdashloo. Hey there, Shohreh Agadashloo. If you don't know, she's played in Expanse. I'm trying to think of like what are some of their popular roles. She's amazing actor. And asked kind of like, why are people suggesting that they want me to play Cadsuane? This whole thing turned into like she tweeted at Rafe tweeted at her. So then they connected over direct message on Twitter about this. So we don't know that she's going to be in season 2. But it's just a really, really fun note. And if you happen to somehow miss this, then there you go. There it is. That was a really cool thing to happen.
That was awesome.
Were you excited? Do you want to see her play Cadsuane? Or if now you had a choice of like anyone, would you pick somebody else?
I think she would make an excellent Cadsuane. I almost think she would be better as one of the Aiel wise ones. I think that could be really fun. I have like a kind of a fundamental problem with like casting very well-known people in roles in the shows that I like, because I often like just start thinking of them. Oh, that's Christian Alvarez-Sorala from The Expanse, not that's Cadsuane, right? I want to be lost in the show, and that's difficult to do when you have somebody as recognizable and as her. We just watched Arcane, that show on Netflix, She plays one of the characters. We heard her voice, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, that's Shohreh Agadashloo. And like, I can't tell you what the character's name is. So I'm a little afraid of that if she gets cast. But you know, I think she'd make a great Cadsuane. I think she'd make a great Wise One. She could be a cool Forsaken type potentially. I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, everyone was again, and this is a case where fan casting may actually,
yeah,
calling out an actor on Twitter turns into like your favorite actor playing in your like a show that you want them to be in. Elon said, "I'm Persian. It's pronounced I'm assuming Shohreh Agadashloo. Wait, and the GH is a guttural sound.
Okay.
Aghdashloo. I'm probably still doing a terrible
You're still
job.
messing it up. Yeah.
I'm still doing it. That's fine. I'm not doing
Thank you, though. Thank you for the help.
Thank you, Elon. More. I'll need some. I'll need to get training. Not here live. Okay, so for those of you that are watching us over on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, we're going to say goodbye to you here just in a moment or two. But thank you very much for being here. Your sneak peek into tonight's episode of all the news you might have missed, or probably did if you haven't been kind of tracking things, is going to end here shortly. For those of you on YouTube, we're going to keep going probably for another hour and a half, honestly, to get through all this news, get through all your calls, give away some mugs. That's just how it's going to be tonight. So, but yes, for those of you that are kind of visiting us from elsewhere, you can just jump over on YouTube and watch the rest of the show with us over there. So that's what you should do, honestly. Okay, next piece of news, and then we'll bring in our next caller. Those of you patiently waiting here. WoTUp also reported, I want to say that I watched so much WoTUp like today. It was like hours and hours of it over the last 2 days. I want to say that John reported that Elias is in this season coming up.
Oh, really?
But maybe merged or will be merged with another character, but we're unsure what that character is or who that character is going to be. A lot of people have suggested Sharon, I think, is like kind of the sniffer role.
Sharon, Elias, potentially
sense, right?
The sniffer.
Yeah, the sniffer, that kind of makes sense, right?
That makes sense.
So if you had the option, I want to ask you those, and then to bring our next caller. If you had the option to merge Elias with someone, is there anyone else you'd throw in here?
Gaul, potentially.
Sharon. Who?
Gaul. Gaul could be an ideal work brother. I don't know.
Gaul? That's not what I expected.
Who else?
Honestly,
who else is close to Perrin? That
I know.
It's basically Huron or Gaul.
I feel like that's I was like Huron is the only one that I could think of.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Huron. If they're merging it's got to be Huron.
So if you were out there kind of wondering why didn't Elias show up in this one, what about those characters we missed from book 1? It sounds like we're getting Elaine. People believe that the showrunner was talking about Elida also when he said the two names that begin with L, I believe. So Elaine, Elida, Gawain, Galad, Elias, maybe merged with Huron. And we'll tell you about some other characters we're getting, but it seems like we're going to get a lot of people that we kind of thought we might see in season 1 from book 1 in season 2. So, okay, let's bring our next caller in, and then we'll jump back to some more news after we're talking with them. So here we go. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hi, it's Solver's Ears. How are you doing this evening?
Solver's Ears. How you doing, man?
Doing well, Brian. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
You've covered so many things since I took notes as to what I wanted to talk about. But first of all, congratulations to Taylor, and the entire community feels so much love for him, and he deserves it. So congratulations, Taylor.
Yes, congratulations.
Second thing I wanted to say was regarding the costumes, it'll be interesting to see what the new person does. I forget the name. Regarding the Tyr and Kyrian costumes, if they're the ones that were in charge of it. So I'll be very interested to see what they do there. Two other things. First of all, I am so looking forward to Elida joining the show. And I think Huron and Elias are going to be merged because the meeting between Perrin and Gaul is just so epic. I can't see them merging them. I want to see that meeting.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. What do you, as far as the news, I know we've covered some of it. Was there any piece of news that you were just really, really excited to hear about season 2 that you were worried about in season 1. Maybe we didn't get something, but now you're really excited about it because you've heard that it's going to happen.
Well, the Shohreh, I think, joining the cast would be interesting. And I agree with Brian. I think I would rather see her as a wise one rather than Cadsuane, because she just has that look and feel in my mind, though she doesn't have the red hair. But I just think she would be excellent for that. And I hadn't even thought of it until Brian had mentioned it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That's what Brian's here for, to bring all the love here. Okay, I gotta ask you while I have you here, favorite episode from season 1.
It was episode 7, without a doubt.
Episode 7, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm still there, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. That when I look back, yeah.
And episode 1, first of all, I had a lot of trepidation about how it was going to start, and the fact that they did start it with the battle, and the way the battle started, Tom getting pierced from behind, was just like, oh my God, and it carried on from there. I loved episode 1 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
You loved episode 1? I would
not
want to, it's still at the back of my list. I don't know why. Again, it's not because I hated it. Just, it's not, it wasn't among my favorites. So I got you. Officers, thank you very much for... Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just thought some of the background stuff with the women's circle was so well done, and it was so beautiful to watch. That's another big part of episode 1 for me.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree with that like some of these pieces that they've actually included, like a lot of people love the Logain, adding that part in. A lot of people love the kind of Steppen side of this, kind of getting more kind of detail on warders. And again, adding in kind of like the women's circle and women's kind of the ceremonies there. A lot of people have loved some of these kind of innovations or iterations that Rafe has added, for sure. Well, hey, thank you very much for calling, man. It's awesome to hear your voice.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
I'm waving to a phone caller.
You waving to a phone caller?
Bye-bye.
By the way, I asked this while we were chatting here. Will Callandor be found in Tyr? So many things have changed from in like the TV series as compared to the books. In other words, Rafe doesn't seem like he's holding some line where it's like, no, this has to be here, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. This can be technically anywhere. I've seen this idea that Callandor, might be in a stash of Terangrial or something that Turok has. He just doesn't know. I've seen this idea. So I wanted to ask everybody if they thought that Callandor in Tyr was going to be kind of the sacred line that Rafe wouldn't cross.
It's the sword in the stone, dude.
It's not that I don't understand.
You can't cut the sword in the stone. You can't put the sword in the dirt.
Look straight into the
work.
camera. Look straight into the camera and say Rafe and the writers, and tell them that.
I will. Rafe and the writers, if you're watching this, you can't cut the sword in the stone, man.
Yeah.
The sword in the pile of other swords just doesn't have the same ring to it.
93% of the people voting this poll agree with you that it will be found in Tyr. That's how they're feeling. They're feeling the same way as you.
Good.
Taylor, did you go ahead and do that? I let everybody know. So yeah, you can. If you're still watching us on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, now you will no longer be with us.
Cut off.
Taylor finally cut you off. Here's a fun little piece of news we'll jump to before we get our caller. Sorry, Taylor, go ahead. I'm sure all of you have heard of, not necessarily played, but heard of Wordle. Right? Maybe you've seen this show up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Wordle, then don't worry about it. But I'll show you, actually. Brian did something recently. So this is a fun little piece of news. Made what do you call this? Just a Wheel of Time Wordle. That's right.
Yeah, Wheel of Time Wordle.
Wheel of Time Wordle. What word? I'm not sure. Let's see. Can I put a... Okay, what word should I... You'd already know the word here. Let me... let's try Huron. How about we try
Huron.
that?
I don't know if that'll work.
Okay. Oh, I only got the N. Oh, yeah, that's... well, it can't be Gawain because that's the end of the word. I'm trying to think here. What's another? I'm trying to think. What's another Wheel of Time word with an N in it?
The guesses don't have to be Wheel of Time words, but they could be. But it's more fun to do it that way.
Gotcha. Yeah. Give me a word out there in chat. What's another word we can do?
What's an N word?
Letters. Oh, yeah. We can do swan. It won't be the N won't be in the right place, but we can find out if there's any letters here that we're missing. Oh, we did get the N there. So. So if any of you are kind of wondering, like, what is Wordle? Basically, you have like 6 chances to get a word, 5-letter word correct, and it kind of helps you learn, figure out like you got the word in the right spot or letter in the right spot. Anyways, Brian did a Wheel of Time version, so we'll throw the link in. It's like Wordle.barsidechats. That was a fun little thing Brian did out to bring a little Wheel of Time spirit to your Wordle if that's part of your day. If it's not, don't worry about it. I haven't figured this one out today, so if you have, don't spoil it for me. I will. I'll try to figure it out tonight. But these I found those are the Wheel of Time ones that you've come up with. They put in there. They're harder.
They're harder because the answers are all Wheel of Time words, and most Wheel of Time words are fantasy gibberish names that you would just never. Once you get to the end, it's like, okay, I'm just picking random letters now and hoping that it fits in the empty spot. So it's much more difficult, I think.
By the way,
if I picked words that everybody was familiar with, there'd only be like 30 answers, and that's no fun.
That isn't fun. People are saying that, like, I didn't think it could be one of those words. This is something kind of fun out there from a news perspective you might not have heard. Have you seen this, Brian? Have you seen that Amazon has like this what is it, augmented reality app?
I haven't.
That you can download.
What is this?
A Dragon Mount basically announced this. I didn't see the official account even mention this, but that there's an AR app that you can download. Again, we'll throw the link in afterwards if someone has the link and wants to throw it in chat here. But basically, I downloaded this thing, and you can kind of throw up some of these images right in front of you using your phone and kind of like get up close and personal with some of these. I actually get to walk through Shatter Logoth, for example. You can walk around the pool in that portal section. So those I think were the kind of most fun. The landmarks was pretty fun. So Amanda's asking, is there a link for this? There is, like I said, if you go look up, let me see if I can find that, everybody. Yeah, here you go. If you go look up just dragonmount.com on Twitter, they have a little video about it. And I think on this link, you can find the links to the iOS and Android app. It may only be in, people said I think might be only for the US. I don't know. Go find out for us and kind of come back.
So go to your app store and search for Amazon AR. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, I think it was like, no, it was like, I'm trying to remember what the name of the app was. I can look on my phone, everybody. How about that? I'll give you the exact name of this app. It was, because it didn't like come up immediately for me. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, Amazon AR. So you're right. Nice job, Brian. So I would say my favorites here are probably the landmarks and the portals. You laughing that you already got it? Nice. So go check it out. That's kind of fun. And so, yeah, you might have missed that piece of news. And then also there was another piece of news that Dragon Mount mentioned. Also, this came off of the main account. Let me show you this. But this one, I'm going to play a little. This one is kind of more an audio one versus the video one here. But, yeah, this is an Alexa skill, if you will. Let me show you the kind of, I can play this for everybody.
Experience the two rivers is where your journey begins. Experience the world of the Wheel of Time, exclusively on Alexa. Activate the adventure today by...
Okay, that's like dramatic. It's not that dramatic, but I did record a little clip of using Alexa skill. I tried this out. I tried it out to see if it would be kind of interesting. I mean, we've read these books at this point. It's like, what new experience could this really bring? But it was fun. I'll play what
Alexa, open Beyond the Two Rivers.
There you go. Alexa.
Welcome to Beyond the Two Rivers. In just a minute, you'll meet your guide and be on your way.
I had to cut out some parts there.
Welcome to the Two Rivers. It's not the grandest of places, a little isolated from the rest of the world, but those of us who call it home.
Yeah. So for some of us, it would be like, yeah, I know where the Two Rivers is. Get me on the story here. But it's kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. If you go look up this, it's in the Alexa skill. If you go look up Beyond the Two Rivers, you can find that one. That was kind of a fun little piece of news. That's like random stuff that maybe you hadn't heard was out there. So I wanted to kind of share those. Let's bring our next caller in, then we'll jump to some more news. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
This is Beth. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
You know, we're back. It's a WoT Wednesday.
I'm glad you're back, but I'm glad you had a vacation. That's fabulous.
Right? It was good. I kind of needed that, right? Did you end up taking a break, or were you like watching and just no break?
No, I mean, as soon as Wheel of Time ended, you know, I binged The Witcher, and then I binged The Expanse, and you know, so no, it hasn't really been quiet.
Okay,
there's been lots of good fantasy stuff going on lately.
That's true. I did not necessarily. I just went away from the Wheel of Time for a bit, but I definitely was with you. I binged both of those. I love Expanse. Must be my favorite sci-fi at this point on television show. I don't think I've seen
awesome.
Better.
The books are great too.
And I just picked up that first audiobook, and I've been listening to it while I've been working this week, and it's been fantastic. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I haven't watched. I'm a sci-fi fan, but not like a crazy sci-fi fan. But Expanse, I'm now a huge Expanse fan. I've never read the books. I know Brian's tried to get me to, so now I need to. I'm kind of curious for those. I feel
like the Expanse is more like science future instead of science fiction, because the way that they talk about how the human body changes when you've never been in gravity and how gravity can impact you, it's fascinating to hear it.
It's hard sci-fi. It's based on real science and real projections rather than just made up voodoo magic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't want to ruin anything. We won't ruin anything for you. Then we won't like spoil anything out there for anyone that hasn't watched these just yet. You know, I try to. I hate spoilers. We talked about this recently on an episode of Farside Chats. I hate spoilers for anything but the Wheel of Time TV show. For some reason, I make an accommodation for the TV show. So, Beth, what's been your favorite kind of piece of news that's come out recently that maybe we haven't covered yet?
I'm really loving Priyanka Bose on social media. I don't really know that it's news necessarily, but I love the posts that she's been making in the live chat that she did the other night, and I think it was on Instagram where she posted today or yesterday, where she was with the actor who plays one of her warders. I mean, she's just like amazing. I'm kind of in love with her a little bit right now, so I think she's my favorite piece of all of it going on.
Yeah, tell me if you can hear this. Then let me play this. This is something that Laura mentioned on Twitter, saying Priyanka was doing a live video and slipped this little. I don't know if you'd call this news, rumors that appeal. I don't know. Let's see what Priyanka.
I can't tell you when season 2 is coming. I feel like you guys should watch season 1 again. Season 2 should be coming in mid this year. You know, there's a lot of work that gets put in. So there's a lot of work, guys.
It's a lot of work, guys.
I like how she's like, I can't tell you when it's dropping, but mid-year, you know?
Well, it's funny, she said mid, and then she said this year. So I kind of took this like, she was like mid, oh wait, maybe I've heard something, I can't tell you, so sometime this year. I didn't, like mid-year just sounds crazy. Beth, do you actually believe there's any chance that we get season 2 mid-year this year?
I really would love it if it happened, but realistically, most likely not. I mean, I think we would all love it as long as the post-production work got done, because I think honestly that was one of the legitimate criticisms of season 1 was there, especially the last episode, there could have been some more time spent in post-production to make things a little bit more as realistic as you can make a Trolloc, you know? But other than that, you know, as long as the production value is good, I would love it to come out mid-year instead of the end of the year or early next year. But who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would take it, but like you said, I would much rather that they. I think this is one of the pieces of news we that WoTUp, I believe, broke. Is it WoTUp? No. This was actually in an article, I thought, but well, anyways, I can't remember. I'll find this in my notes later. But one of the pieces of news that we were going to talk about tonight was that I think it was in one of John's videos saying that the VFX budget did increase for season 2 as opposed to season 1. So maybe that's a nod to them believing the same thing, which is they want to up the ante a bit. Even Rafe, I think, in one of the answers, he said, it started off small, but kind of the books go epic, and that's how they want season 2 to feel. Mm-hmm. So maybe for them to say that, to me, it's like mid-year seems crazy. Like that means they're marketing this thing like sometime April, May.
I think she probably meant to say she was going to say mid-December, mid-November, and then caught herself and
like this year
generalized it to year. I don't think she meant mid-year. I think she meant mid something else and then caught herself and corrected it and just said year.
Do you agree with this? I think it was Nablus said that that Priyanka's like the Tom Holland of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah. It's
she's always dropping stuff a little early and stuff.
She'll be so relieved when somebody else, leaks something. Be like, oh, thank God it wasn't me.
Yeah, like Michael just said, and I saw this elsewhere, doubtful a cast member would know at this point. So believing that it's this year, I think, is most likely. About 200 of you, by the way, voted on this. Are you a fan of The Expanse? And about 67% have said yes, but 33% said no. Okay. And Jessica said, I thought I heard that filming should be done by end of February. I believe that principal photography is supposed to be done by then, but they do reshoots.
They do reshoots and pickup shots.
They do reshoots and pickup shots. That's going to take months, to kind of make sure that they get everything. The editing process. And then we're talking marketing, but they have Lord of the Rings.
CGI.
The
music.
Boys is coming out in the summer, I think. I don't believe it. But yeah. I just love that it drops. I love that Priyanka gave us that mid and then said it should be coming out this year and has everyone kind of in a bit of a tizzy, if you will. So I love
But then there's also the fact that sometimes they plan to release it in November and then something happens, COVID, something happens and they might have to push it back a couple of months. So
yeah, no, exactly. And it was, I think, this was from what I said when WoTUp mentioned this. It was from, I think, a Forbes article. We'll include that in the description. In this Forbes article, it said the VFX budget would increase heavily, is what I think this one comes from. But anyways, if you want to look at that article after the show, I'll try to just grab everything out of our notes and put them in the description here. So, Beth, what are you most excited about in season 2 before we let you go?
I really, really, really want to see Matt become the reluctant hero that he grows into, especially in book 3. I'm struggling a little bit with that happening in my brain with hearing about merging book 2 and book 3, but I still think it can be done and done well. It's just got to be done pretty specifically. So I think that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Egwene being collared, for lack of a better term, or captured, quote unquote, by the Shan-Chan, and really just seeing the emotional toll that's going to have, because I really do think that Madeline has the capacity to show that range, and I would really like to see them get into the emotional side, not just the physical, of what being enslaved can do to your, to you as a person, and the long-term ramifications of that.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think Rafe even said that the Shan-Chan will be this big presence in season 2, which makes sense. They should be, and they need to be. So I have a hard time believing. He actually, as one of the pieces of news I was going to mention from a quote from Rafe, it was interesting because, again, a lot of us were like, that's not what I thought the Shan-Chan were going to look like. And it was like, what's in their mouths? This is not the Shan-Chan that I remember from the books.
It was really good, though. I mean, they definitely made an impression. When I saw them in the last 60 seconds of the last episode, I was riveted. I saw the sails. I was like, oh my gosh, there they are. I don't really love what they did with them, but they definitely made an impression, and their costuming was really good. I'm still kind of, torn a little bit with the way that they're going to necessarily portray the IDOM. I'd like to get more info on that, but they definitely made an impression for sure.
Yeah, that's what he said. And that's, again, a lot of these like choices for TV kind of thing, I just kind of boggle my mind. Sometimes where you're like, okay, I get it. You want to make it really distinct, but he said like, they're going to take some of that concept of what we anticipate the armor looks like. They're going to roll with that, but then they want to up the ante on the fact that this is like alien, like group is coming, and they want it to look so different. Like that's kind of how they want it to feel so foreign to what people are familiar with. And so it sounds like that's why some of the changes we saw, they went with that, and they kind of gave kind of free reign of like, give us something even more different than what we have with the Shanchan. I hope it sounds like we're still going to get the shaved sides of the head and, the shaved heads, and hopefully we get some of the things we're kind of expecting with them. But yeah, that was, and that's what Boz is saying. We haven't really seen the Shanchan yet. I agree. And Shannon just said not insect enough. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We really haven't seen everything yet when it comes to the Shanchan for sure. Like we got to get the Grom right. We got to get like just the creatures.
Yes, and Rockin' and and give us some. Make sure we get Suroth and Turek, and that will be amazing. Yeah, and Guinan, please, or Guinan, however you pronounce her.
Yeah,
and I just have to throw out there fan casting. Tara Gee from The Expanse is a Guinan, please. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it. Hey, it's possible. Go out there and fan cast. You never know. Now that we've learned that that's a possibility. Hey, Beth, thank you very much for calling in.
For real.
I have to let you go, but it was awesome hearing your voice, and happy 2022.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye, Beth. I waved again.
So we're throwing out some of the kind of pieces of news. One of the ones you really liked, Brian, if you guys have not seen this, again, we'll put the link in this description of this video. There was a leaked episode 1 script. If you just want to look up on Reddit, I think you can find it out there. That's where people... Brian, you looked into this, and...
Yeah, I read it.
So this is likely just an early version of the script.
Yep.
But if you were unfamiliar with this, you haven't heard about this, or you haven't read it, maybe let's talk about some of the things you saw that you thought were kind of interesting from the script, this kind of leaked, maybe an earlier script, compared to what we actually got in season 1.
Yeah, there are a bunch of interesting things in there. One was the cold open was Guitar Amoroso, guitarist Sadai, the one who had the foretelling, the blind Sadai that had the foretelling in the first place that the dragon came back. That was the cold open with Moraine. And that's a pretty big change from the cold open we saw in episode 1 with Leandrin chasing down a man. Another change was...
Well, going along with that one, doesn't she say in there, like, find the baby and kill it? Or something like that? Like,
I think so, yeah.
There's a line in there, like, that would have been... What's really funny is, like, I wanted Guitar Amoroso, but if it was going to be paired with find the baby and kill it, I mean, maybe that would have been okay in the sense of, like, she misunderstood, like, what that was and had, like... It just seems, like, overly, like, what? And so, I don't know, like... I think I would have liked that scene. I don't know that I would like that line per se.
Yeah. She does say she says find the baby Moraine, and then whispers kill it, before she dies.
And then she dies right there. Right?
And she dies, which is what happens in the book. But so she died then too. That was something that was in there that I thought was a pretty big change, and it kind of would have worked really well, minus the kill it part. So I thought that was interesting. The Two Rivers had more Two Rivers in it. The first episode had more Two Rivers in it. So it had more of like the women's circle and the village council bickering, Nynaeve and Sembui arguing with each other. The ritual with Egwene, being yeeted off a cliff. Like that whole thing was more fleshed out in the script, which if there were
paint scene, like
the paint scene was in there over her. Yeah, and it was like representative of different aspects of life, I guess.
We go for they were like a lamb slaughter kind of thing. There's like blood related. People were like, okay, give us more of that ceremony coming up with the paint. Don't give us the lamb slaughter blood.
Yeah, exactly.
It is funny because like you read this, it's kind of like Robert Jordan's notes where you see an idea that they had or that he had, and then you get the final idea, but you don't there for the conversation between the two.
Right.
You're like, they had this idea. What made them change it and give us
Right.
the final product? So some of these things, I'm like, that would have been great. So glad we didn't have that happen. You know, like they had the fade behind Rand and Tam.
They did.
So they got rid of that, which is lame,
well, it would have
know?
been awesome, but I also think it's kind of smart because that would have just given away that Rand was the dragon from the get-go. And they worked I think they worked really hard in season 1 to make that a question. Right. They worked really hard to make that a question, like, who is the dragon reborn? It could be anybody, but if the opening scene with Rand and Tam is like, oh, there's a fade right behind them, that would have been like almost too much of a giveaway. So
yeah, Michael's saying this in chat. I see this. The script was full of look at like the prestige television and Game of Thrones. Like there was like kill the baby. There's a lamb death. There was more like explicit sex on camera.
Yeah, explicit sex. Yeah.
So like all these ideas again, like you read some of the stuff Robert Jordan had, and you're like, thank you for not doing any of those things.
Yeah.
Like stuff with Nynaeve that was going to happen in the books.
Yep.
No, that was going to be horrendous. Thank you for not doing that. So you're glad. In the same way, you see some of the things you're happy. But Matt had a quarterstaff in the woods protecting his sisters or something like that.
Yep.
There's a badger reference with Matt and Rand in a bag. Like there's this reference. More Perrin and Lila scenes were some of the things. More developed relationships, which I think is what everyone was kind of hoping for, and I think that's.
But it really wasn't much. It was just like 2 or 3 more like lines that really explained the whole relationship that we didn't see in the show.
Yeah, there's. I did notice this one. Someone said this. It does give evidence that Lila is not a Darkfriend, because in the script it doesn't talk about how she's.
It doesn't talk about that at all. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, well, one of the big Layla Darkfriend theories, she's a Darkfriend because she looks like she's about to hit him with an axe when he hits her, but in the script there's nothing about that. So if she is a Darkfriend, this script does not support that. So
I'm going to ask everybody this: do you like the look of the Sean Chan? 65% say yes, 35% say no. I saw a lot of kind of like the face paint just wasn't working for people. Me too. Face paint's not working for me, but. Let's see how season 2 turns out. Maybe it'll grow on me. I doubt it, but maybe. Let me ask everybody about this. Would you have preferred the guitar? Isn't Moroso, right? What do we call this? Cold open over the Leandrin.
There's also the scene of when Rand and is dragging Tam back to town. That was in there. That actually wound up being a flashback in episode 8, episode 7.
Episode 7,
episode 7. So they did do that. It just wasn't in episode 1. And that's kind of those are kind of the big changes that I noticed. This is all assuming that this leaked script is legit.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's possible that somebody just wrote it. It's like fan fiction. But, looking at it, it feels like if it's fake, it's a good fake early draft. Like it feels like an actual early draft might feel. So I enjoyed reading it. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, it could be a total fake. It could be like some fan like coming up with like what would have been better. Giving a little bit more dimension to relationships, mentioning the spear. So, but I did see someone comment this in chat like, oh man, like the spear does give hope that maybe we're going to get the Gawain and Galad scene. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to do one more piece of news here. Was there anything else from that kind of that script that stood out to you before we move on from that?
No, that was kind of the big things. I thought it was really fun to read, and if you haven't read it, it's not spoilery. You can go read it. Just Google it and go find it. It's really good, interesting read.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I did see this one. Katara was blind.
She was blind. Yeah.
Script. And then
I think she was blind in the books too.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't remember that.
I thought she was.
Now, somebody did ask about this channeling, and if you're blind, Robert Jordan actually said it was possible, just extremely difficult, just because of the way that you learn to channel. If you go back, I don't have the quote right here, but he did say, like, he left like a little tiny space for the possibility that someone was blind and could learn. He didn't say it was 100% no, but he did say it was very, very, very difficult.
I see.
Because I know a lot of people, I saw some comments about that. They were upset from kind of a canon standpoint. So, but yes, technically speaking, I just saw two people say not blind in the books. Well, she was blind in the books. I don't remember her being blind in the books.
I guess she wasn't. She was just old in the books, right? I don't know. She died immediately. She died right after the foretelling. So I just always assumed she was old and blind anyway. So maybe that's just my headcanon.
Yeah. So this is also another piece of news. That's right. Kate Redding and Michael Kramer. I don't know if you are going to JordanCon or WotCon this year. Both of them. JordanCon just sold out 100 more tickets in 90 minutes on Friday. So that may have been your last opportunity. I don't know. Maybe JordanCon will still have some to offer up, but they are. That's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna be there. Brian, you're going to JordanCon this year?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Sweet. And I will also be at WotCon. I'll be the MC here at WotCon, and Kate Redding and Michael Kramer will be at WotCon. So that'll be in July. So I'll be going to JordanCon and WotCon. I can't wait to see Kate Redding and Michael Kramer. I'm not sure have I met them in person? I'm trying to did I meet them once anyway, that will be a lot of fun. If you want to learn more about that, go to wotcon.com. And like I said, come chat with me at either JordanCon or WotCon. I'd love to see you. So, by the way, 215 of you voted on this. Would you have preferred Guitar Moroso cold open over Leander and Chase? 86% said yes. That's not a hard thing to believe at all. Again, the Leander and Chase at this point hasn't borne any fruit that I can think of. Maybe season 2. I have no idea. Guitar Moroso would have been a great cold open. Wish they would have given us that one. I wonder if this is one of the ones they filmed, because John was saying that they filmed some of this stuff. That's not. I'm not surprised. I saw somebody going down. This is Fardai. I am terrible at pronouncing this. Is it Farsdice? Fardaris Mai? Is that how you say it? I don't know. 13 is going to be. This is going to be my first time going to JordanCon. Well, awesome. Come say hi. I'd love to meet. Let me bring in our next caller, and we'll jump back to some more news.
Oh.
Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hi, my name's Cindy.
Cindy, how you doing?
Good. How are you all?
Excellent. We're finally picking back up, getting on our way to season 2 of The Wheel of Time. What did you think about season 1? How did it kind of fall out for you?
Well, I actually didn't love it. I might be one of the naysayers here, but I also just finished the entire series 2 days ago.
Oh, really? Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. The first thing I did was come over to your channel. I was a little worried about spoiling things for myself before.
What? We would never do that inadvertently, like we did today.
Yeah, I was just really scared. So I wasn't. Yeah, so I was kind of just over the book 4 and book 6 mark when I was watching the show. I was moving pretty quickly.
Wow,
so
that's
I wasn't
very quick.
Terribly happy. Yeah, I was just breathing the books. But I wasn't terribly excited for some of the changes they made, particularly the parents' character. But I think a lot of things could be solved with maybe more episodes. My question for you was: do you think they're getting more episodes for season 2?
So that's a good question. The news on that, we're going to cover that today too. I know it's there's so much news. I know we're moving slower than some people want us to today, but the news on that is that there are going to be 8 episodes this season. Also, my hope is that season 3 that they'll get greenlit and they'll get 10 episodes or something. That's my hope. But it sounds like before maybe it was released and they got feedback from fans and saw kind of how things went. They'd already kind of charted out an 8 episode season. And so WoTUp, I think John, I think reported from his sources that was going to be 8 episodes. And that's what Rafe said at I think it was during a live stream 2 years ago that I was hosting at JordanCon online. I think he mentioned they were going to be 8 episodes. So the assumption is just 8 episodes for season 2.
All right. Well, thank you for the info. I really hope that they do something more with it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. What was something that I'm going to ask you both these? What was something that you loved from the show, and what was something that you really hated or didn't like?
Oh, yeah. No, what I really, really loved was Maureen's story of Mathrin. That just quiet moment.
Yep.
I don't remember what episode at this point, but that was great for me. But yeah, as for the thing I really disliked, I think Karen's character, I won't spoil anything for people listening, but I really feel like Karen's character change made him into the opposite, like polar opposite of his story arc for what we see in the book.
Yeah, I was hoping for some more growth, if that makes sense. Like, I was hoping we were going to get more from what they gave us, and I feel like it kind of stalled a little bit, and it went slower than I wanted it to. And so I feel like what they're planning for, like, season 2 is what I'm hoping that that's what it is. Maybe that's just my optimism. I'm hoping that by the end of season 2, we're going to be like, okay, Perrin's in a place that I wanted him to be at the end of season 1, or what we hope to see in season 1. So, yeah, no, I feel it. I'm
totally optimistic too. I will keep watching.
Sounds good. Hey, thank you very much for calling in. Congratulations on finishing the books the first time. And so when are you starting your reread?
I'm going to take a little bit of break. I'm going to read New Spring in maybe like a few weeks. And then I'm going to do a reread probably in a few months.
One of us. One of us.
Yeah, right?
One of us.
It's always the question we ask people, but the break is probably smart, but then jumping back into New Spring is great. I do recommend the Robert Jordan's Notes shows if you have been kind of staying away from the channel. Those are a lot of fun to kind of get some insight on some things that Jordan was planning, now that you've been through the books once. So yeah, check those out on the Dusty Wheel, once you step back and take a little bit of break from the read. But yeah, awesome to hear that you've read them all, that you flew through them. That's amazing. So congratulations. And
thank you for all of the talks. I have already gone through a lot of the notes, so thank you so much.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do more of those this year. We'll get back to those. And so, yeah, look forward to those. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it's that kind of whole thing for everybody, right? I love how you're waving to everybody goodbye. It's so good.
It's a thing now. I have to do it.
Right. We do have some cast reveals. If you haven't heard of these are probably pretty well known out there. But let me show you these two. I think this one is. Let me jump here first. I think this is Raquel Cipriano. And she's playing a novice in an episode directed by Thomas Napper. This is reported by WoTSeries on I think this is the 7th of this month, and likely placing her in episode 1 or 2 of season 2. So we're getting a novice here, and then I believe that this is Marie France Alvarez, and has been cast in the role of Celestine, who is an Aes Sedai, but you don't really meet this Aes Sedai until Winter's Heart, and she's one of the Yellow. And this is kind of from WoTSeries. They said she could be an Aes Sedai that instructs Nynaeve and Egwene at the White Tower, possibly a Shanshan Damane, perhaps, becomes one. That's a possibility. So those are two of the cast members that we're aware of. Did you see is there any kind of new casting information you've seen, Brian, that you're really excited about?
I love everybody. I'm just happy to see more people get cast. I don't. Yeah. This is one area of like news that I generally don't pay that much attention to, because this is one of those spoiler areas that I kind of want to see them for the first time in the role that they're in. So I don't pay that much attention to this. However, everything you just said sounds wonderful. So keep at it, Rafe and team.
Well, this is Melissa James. I think that this is for season 2 is Eleanor is the name of Nynaeve's mother in the books, and possibly hinting at a flashback. So Nynaeve's parents. So that is one kind of suggested individual that, or kind of not change the story, but yeah, I think WoTSeries reported this, that maybe seeing a flashback to season 2 or in season 2 of her parents is something here. And then we have Jessica Boone, who I think WoTUp reported a quickly deleted Instagram post congratulating her among others for season 1, but we hadn't seen her in season 1. And then he confirmed from sources that she's playing a Shanshan. So season 2, and then WoTSeries reported that Jessica was seen with the side of her head shaved in August of this past year when they began filming. And so yeah, she was in Prague. And so yeah, Jessica, maybe people are throwing out maybe Lady Suroth, you know.
Oh, that could be neat.
Suroth perhaps, but someone from the Shanchan. And yeah, so there's a couple more where we know we're getting, like, so Nynaeve's parents, we're getting some more Aes Sedai, we're getting some more Shanchan, some fun kind of casting to start kind of filling in, if you will, what we're seeing for the next season. Then hopefully you saw this news. These are 3 individuals that were recently cast. You must know this person. He's on Twitter. He's awesome. Guy Roberts, everybody. You've already seen Guy Roberts playing Uno in season 1 and has been announced in season 2. So if you were worried of all of the maybe people that you were faked out to believe that had died, Uno was not one of them. Uno is alive and well. And then we're also getting, I'll probably be terrible with this name, is it Arnas Federavicius? That's terrible. Arnas Federavicius? I don't know. Massima. That's how we're going to know who this is. Massima was cast also. And then we have, I think this is, maybe I got these 2 wrong. I think this is Greg Chilingrian. Ingtar is playing Ingtar. So a lot of people were I was laughing at the reaction to this. A lot of people seeing this picture were like, I didn't know that hot Massima was going to be a thing. And now I just love it. People are like, we can cut Massima. And then they were like, no, we can't cut Massima. We must have Massima. People are saying, did I get them wrong? Did I flip them? Let me, maybe I flipped them. We'll watch in chat. People will tell me if I got those wrong. So, I'm waiting for them to. They're saying it. Okay, maybe I got them wrong. I'll go find out. I'll go to WoTSeries and just get the actual story. Look, I got so many pictures that See, yeah, there's it's backwards. See, instead of getting the bad poll today, I flipped them. So yeah, they're saying that that this is Hot Sema, and that this is Ingtar right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I'll jump to WoTSeries and they'll fix this for me. So thanks for the folks over at WoTSeries for having the news. There we go, everybody. Yeah. So I was wrong there. Yes. So in the middle you have Massima, and on the right you have Ingtar. So unreliable narrator is what Koala said. That's right. So yeah, you have Massima in the middle, Uno on the left, and on the right you have Ingtar. So we can kind of expect, I guess, that I would assume that these 3 will journey with Perrin and actually go after the horn. That's what I would imagine is going to happen. So
I mean, those are 3 of my favorite characters, so I'm excited to hear that news. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. So at least they're at least they're hot. That's true. Noman Garden's like Matt with his 57 tabs to keep straight. Yeah, there are so many tabs here. That's for sure. So yes, I agree. I'm trying to get all those right, and every once in a while I'll throw some unreliable narrator news to you all. We need a poll about this. Yes, I'll ask this: Is the cast hot enough for you? How about that?
We have the thirstiest fandom in the history of fantasy fandom, so no, they're never hot enough. The cast has been great. That's what's been, I think, one of the things that I've seen with all the criticism about the show, all the love of the show. The cast has always won out there, from what I can tell. People just love the cast. So, but yes, the thirst is real. It's true. It is a thirsty fandom. That's for sure. And Beth Roberts says the cast is smoking. I love that. Yeah. So yes, one more time, everybody. Uno on the left, Massima in the middle, and on the right is Ingtar. So I think there's a lot of excitement when this cast news came out, and so I just had to include it here. Yeah. And then this one's interesting, Brian. This one kind of caught me off guard. I was not expecting to get this casting news. I don't know why. This character didn't ever strike me as like significant enough to maybe they're doing something a little bit more with him. But I think this is Will Tudor playing Lord Barthanes. Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it's a really fun moment in The Great Hunt. So I would have been disappointed if they cut it. You're right. It's not like a huge role in the books, but
yeah, I wonder.
Cool.
I mean, for it to, not that this wasn't an official announcement here. I think this came out of Redanian Intelligence. So thanks for Redanian Intelligence mentioned this casting news. So it's not like they came out and cast, like released this. It just happened to get to us by way of a leak. But yeah, Will Tudor playing Lord Barthanes. What do you think about that? Are you looking forward to that part? That suggests we're going to Cairhien, right?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely going to Cairhien. There's definitely going to be like a heist episode, right? Because that's what that episode is. And I could imagine, I think I was talking about this like a year ago with somebody, but I could imagine them turning this into like a comedy where Matt is just trying to be sneaky and keeps tripping over things, and all this stuff is like everything goes wrong behind the scenes, and in the main room it's just like calm, but then behind the scenes just utter disaster, like something out of like a Mr. Bean sketch or something. I could just imagine it's like either they do like super straight like heist where it's like everything's super serious, or they go like completely wild and crazy and have it really funny. I would be happy either way, but I'm really looking forward to this. I think it'll be a whole episode.
Yeah, I would assume at least, right? And maybe it'd be interesting if they kind of pulled this character and did something a little bit more with this character,
And he looks a little like a dandy, like somebody that would be the kind of person to throw the party that he has at the manor. He looks like he's kind of full of himself, or he could be full of himself. So got the noble look,
Here's another one that came along with that kind of Redanian intelligence report. This one's Haruka Kurata will play one of Min's aunts. Well, at least Min's playing Min's Min's aunt, but Min has, I think, 3 aunts in the books. So I don't know if this will be one of, or if this will just be like they'll just merge them all into a single
small into one. Yeah.
So Redanian Intelligence put this one out there. If you missed this, we're going to meet her aunt, apparently.
That means we'll probably get a flashback with Min.
I wonder, or if she's going to go, like we saw her leaving Faldara.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's true. She could be going back home.
Fleeing to,
back home to Barrowline?
Min's from Andor, right? So maybe we don't know where she might drop off or stop, but yeah, or it could be a flashback. A flashback would make sense. For those of you that answered this poll, about 200 of you answered, is the cast hot enough for you? 86% said yes. 14% said no. So thank you, WoTSeries, John from WoTUp, and also Redanian Intelligence for kind of some of that news about some of the cast. They also have kind of some rumored cast, but like unknown roles. So we'll cover those here shortly too. We'll kind of jump back. But let me bring in another caller to the show and see what they have to say. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hey, this is Seth.
Seth, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. My water is yours.
Thank you, sir. It's awesome to have you here. Is this the first time you called in? How many times have you called into the Dusty Wheel?
I will say this is the 3rd or 4th time, maybe.
Okay. Nice.
A veteran. We got a veteran here.
A veteran, yeah, exactly. What were your overall thoughts?
I really am in real life too.
Oh, well, thank you for your service. That's awesome. By the way, what were your thoughts of season 1 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime?
I was really happy that there was an adaptation. I thought there were some amazing sequences. I don't know. I feel like everyone's been super duper kind for the most part. So I'd just like to offer, a different perspective, if that's all right.
Sure.
I just feel like,
Go for it. As long as it's not just like some crazy rant, go on. Yeah, give us your different perspective.
No. I'll be super quick here. No rant. Book one, definitely the hardest one to adapt, for sure. And with COVID and everything, there were a whole lot of struggles. That being said, if there were 2 books to combine into another season, I think 2 and 3 are the books to do that. And I think this is the time to bring the fire, to bring that West Wing, Game of Thrones. We want smart people having smart conversations and then badass magic. And I think this is the time for it.
Yeah, season 2 has got to be good, right? Season 2 has to hit like a lot of us. like the season 2 is the one I want to be that kind of like, I can't stop talking about this. Like it's the best TV I've seen. Like that's the kind of thing maybe I'm raising my expectations too much. I feel like they have the groundwork that they can do that. But like you said, I think it does need to up the ante all around. And I have hopes, but it is one of those where it's like, we will wait and see, I guess, at this point. But yeah, where did you rank, I guess, season 1 for you? Where did it kind of end? If you had to rank it 1 out of 10, between 0 and
1
10.
out of 10. I mean, I love the book so much, so it's tough here. I'd probably give it a 7. I mean, like there are definitely, I'll definitely rewatch it. And if there was some crazy thing and the whole show got canceled right now and that was all we had, I'd be like, you know what? That's a great season 1. Oh God, what if? Yada yada yada. So I'm not knocking it. It was good. That being said, it kind of feels like it was made for TV as opposed to like an Amazon special where we're just dumping money into it and we're going to do everything we can to make the best thing ever. Sure. I mean, I liked it, but I feel like I don't know. I guess I was hoping for more.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think it has to do with, like you said, they went, like Rafe went into that idea of like, we're adapting the whole series here, not just book 1. And so they made some significant changes with some kind of like hope for payoff. And we're kind of in a wait and see at this moment. I did think about this recently today. I was reading a comment someone had made to me. If Robert Jordan had ended with book 1 and that's it, had only ever written The Eye of the World, it would have been maligned as a Lord of the Rings knockoff, and he would not have been known for anything but writing a 1-book Lord of the Rings series. So, it wasn't until The Great Hunt, Dragon Reborn, Shadow Rising, that what is the Wheel of Time really kind of became like the Wheel of Time for us. And so that's what I'm hoping here, is that a lot of those beats from book 1 that we got here were kind of the setup for what we really, at least for me as a reader, loved most about the Wheel of Time and what the Wheel of Time became, if that makes sense. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, no, I'm hopeful. That makes sense. I think they definitely got the spirit of it, 10 out of 10. And I mean, yeah, some of my favorite books certainly are later in the series. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to Lord of Chaos. That's what I'm hoping for. That's got to be great.
Yeah, I think Yosha Stradowski, I guess I don't want to spoil. I won't say anything there, but Yosha Stradowski made a comment about looking forward to a moment in Lord of Chaos. I won't say which moment for those that might be in chat, that we're not spoiling anything after book 4 at this point. I don't want to change that for people. So, hey, thank you so much for calling and appreciate it. Again, thank you for your service. And it was awesome talking to you, Seth. Have a good night, okay?
You too. The Will Weaves.
The Will Weaves, man. See ya. Bye-bye. I love that. I think that's a really, at least for me, that's where my take is, which is I wanted it to be so much more, but at this point we were covering it so closely for 2 years. I couldn't help but want it to be everything that I wanted it to be. So yeah, are you still hopeful that they can kind of knock it out of the park in season 2?
Yeah, I don't want to get my hopes too high up, but yeah, I think season 1 was a little bit about finding their footing. It was a lot about setting up the future. You read a lot of interviews with Rafe, and he talks about how from very first episode they were setting up seasons 2 and 3, especially with Moraine and Lan. They don't really have a huge plot in books 2 and 3, and so what do you do with Rosamund Pike and Daniel Henny for 2 seasons when they don't really have much in the book? So they were clearly setting up a whole bunch of that stuff in season 1. You've got setting up politics in the White Tower. You've got setting up just all kinds of things that I think they just set up for the next season, and maybe even season 3 right now. So I think a lot of the scenes where I think the way that I look at it, is that most of the changes were designed to do one of like 3 things. One was to hide who the Dragon Reborn was. So a lot of the changes were like, if we left this thing just like the books, it would be really obvious it was Rand from the get-go. And that's nice for us book readers because we already know. But if you're somebody who's never read the books, if you're a non-reader, you kind of want that mystery. You kind of want people to speculate it. And if you talk to any of the non-readers who watched it, they were speculating in every episode, who's the dragon reborn? Who's the dragon reborn? So they did that, I think, very well, even though that resulted in changes that are not quite like the books. Another thing that they did was, set up the future really well, I think, like I mentioned. And then the third was just to streamline it as much as possible, to fit as much in there as they possibly could. I do think some of the changes are a little weird. The way the waygates look, for example, that was kind of underwhelming. I think there were some other parts that were kind of underwhelming, but I do think overall, if I look back at season 1, I think it's like a solid 7.5 out of 10. But I think that most of the changes that they made make sense when you think about the bigger picture. And if we see season 2 and we see all of these changes pay off, they'll be like, oh, that's why Perrin was married. Oh, that's why Matt fussed over his sisters. Oh, that's why, Egwene had the paint on her face in that one scene, in the teaser. Maybe these things will make sense. That's why they spent, an entire episode about warders crying, right? If they can make that pay off in season 2, all of it will come full circle and it'll really click. And I think just be a much more powerful season. Whether they pull that off, I don't know, but they did enough of that setting up early in the season to pay off later in the season that I have a lot of optimism and faith that they'll do that in season 2 as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And that's, again, I asked this poll question, and I have how many people have voted? Just over 100 of you have voted so far. How high are your hopes for season 2? So far, it's 52% are high, 45% are tempered, and 2% are low at this point. So I'm definitely in that kind of tempered moment, at least right now. I don't want to go in too high at this point, because I know Rafe has said this, and John from WoTUp kind of reported this in some of his videos, I think was an answer from Rafe to a question of, we're going to continue to see, changes, right?
Yep.
One of the comments Rafe made was, we thought we were going to lose the hardcore fan freaks because of the changes. And as far as I know, he doesn't but only in season 1. No, it's he's kind of sketched out what 7 or 8 seasons will look like. And he's we're assuming we're going to lose the hardcore fan freaks. And we're just happy. He was at the end of that, he's but we're happy that we have hardcore fan freaks that are enjoying it. So I don't think they're going to change their mind on making changes to the story simply to, but maybe they will. Maybe some of the reaction from hardcore fan freaks is okay, maybe we pushed we pushed a little bit too hard. I would say, in my opinion, they pushed too hard because there were changes that were just you brought up a couple, but one of them I see, I'm sorry, the gateway to the waygates.
Waygates, yeah.
The waygates is it's totally unnecessary.
Right.
That's one you can't sell me on. I'm gonna learn something in season 2 where it's gonna be oh,
that's why they look that way.
That's why they look that way. Unless you're gonna go oh, we did actually mix it with portal stones and whatever. But even then, it would be but why did you need to do that? In the end. So there are a couple of things where I'm I think you pushed because you could in ways that were just unnecessary, giving creative freedom to people to kind of come up with something a little bit more maybe connective tissue-wise to our current world, but kind of breaking some obvious things that, that one to me is just totally.
But they did a really good job in other ways. Eliminating Barillon and condensing the Four Kings and all those other Darkfriend sequences into a single episode with Dana and Bryn Spring was great. I think it was a fantastic change. And so you can look at these and say, well, I didn't like the change, but a lot of it was done to set up future things or to streamline the book so that we can fit more in. Because if they spent 3 episodes of random Matt going at different barns and getting attacked in each one, we would have missed a lot more stuff. So, you have to kind of, we talked a little bit about this on the podcast on Farside Chats last week, or this week, I should say. But we talked about, for me, thinking a lot about what they might change in order to, as I was trying to predict what would happen in season 1, I think primed me to be okay with a lot of the changes, because I was already thinking, if I was going to cut something, this is what I would cut. And then they cut it. And I was I was right. They cut it. And it didn't strike me as like, oh no, they cut my favorite scene, because I kind of expected that to happen.
I'm going to throw this comment up from Tom. I agree with this. I know about 10 people that watch the show just because I was excited about it. I'm a hardcore fan freak. Yeah, that's the part, I think, that the equation, that maybe that is part of their equation. Like Rafe and their team were like, we can afford that. But there is a certain energy and excitement that hardcore fan freaks have that is going to sell it on people's friends. And they're going to watch because their friend is really excited about watching it, and they may come to love it. But if their friend kind of turns on it that loves it, they may kind of turn on it too. So again, I love a lot of the streamlining. There were just some things where it's just like, okay, that was just totally unnecessary.
There were a bunch of things that I was kind of like, oh, what is that for? And you know, that's why it's a 7 and not a 10 out of 10. You know, but you know.
For example, I loved, like you said, I thought the streamline to of all the kind of Darkfriend stuff with Matt and Rand, really well done. I love taking Camelin out and using Moraine's original plan and going to Tar Valon. I think that totally works. You know, getting us to Tar Valon, getting us to politics in Tar Valon totally worked for me. I loved those kind of innovations on it. Hated the idea that we lost like prophecy kind of. Yeah. There's just, I feel like it would have been really easy to slip in kind of some exposition on the Horn of Valir, some of the prophecy stuff that wouldn't have distracted from their kind of quest. Let's be honest, the whole first book of the Eye of the World is about who's the Dragon Reborn. It's just that we know who the Dragon Reborn is.
Right,
so,
right, right.
No one knows. Like, that's why they're trying to figure out who's the Dragon Reborn. So I didn't mind that they included that, but I still think they could have gone they could have paid a little bit more attention to kind of retaining some of these things that just seemed unnecessary.
Well, a couple of weeks ago on Barside Chats, we talked a little bit about what changes we might recommend to fix it. And one of my theories is like, there's like 5 or 6 lines of dialogue that you could stick in episodes 2, 3, 4 that would make 6, 7, and 8 make a whole lot more sense. And it's just, you know, there's a bunch of little changes that they could have added to make these things click a little bit more. I kind of wonder if they just wound up on the cutting room floor, or if the rewrites due to COVID kind of messed up that. But yeah, I mean, I'm very optimistic about season 2, because I think if they can continue and like close the loop on a lot of the things that they set up in season 1, especially say episode 8, like it's very clear to me that they set up season 2 and episode 8. It was less of a finale and more of a setup for the next season. And
I think I mentioned they were running. Like the end of there wasn't like a denouement, right? There wasn't like this kind of like, now let's kind of consolidate what's going on. It's like we just kind of got blunt like ending to the season. Yeah. And that's how it felt.
And so season 2, I think they just set up a lot of that, and they're just gonna hit the ground running in season 2, which hopefully means we get to the action faster. We get to the more interesting things faster and faster. So we'll see what happens.
Let me throw up this question here, and we'll jump back to the news. Light Blinded Fool, thank you very much for the tip. When do you think we'll get Camelin season 3? I'm happy they moved Bezalgil to Tar Valon, cuts down in the competition. Hopefully that means they'll stay at the Dusty Wheel when we get there. That's right.
That would be awesome.
Right. Good point, Light Blinded Fool. Now that they can't stay there, maybe they have to stay at the Dusty Wheel. That'd be hilarious.
Could be. That would be hilarious.
Season 3 makes sense to me because they're going to Cairhien here. We're talking Tyr. We're talking Falma.
Let's see.
We're talking introducing the royal family in Tar Valon. I don't think we need to be in Camelin. It would make sense to come back to Camelin season 3, make that maybe a highlight of some of the politics going on with the Forsaken, you know, connecting the royal family then back to Andor a bit. I like it with season 3. Quickly for you, do you like that, just season 3? Is that where you think they'll kind of plug back?
I'm trying to think of what's season 3. So if our theory that season 2 is going to be books 2 and 3, then season 3 would probably be mostly book 4, maybe a little bit of book 5, which is more about the 2 rivers and the waste.
No spoilers, Brian.
Yeah, right. It's more about not Camelin.
About other things.
And so Camelin doesn't really come back very much until much later in the series. So it kind of depends. It depends on whether they combine things. It depends on whether they're cutting some huge plot points that in books 3 and 4 and 5, and try to get us, you know, into some of the politics sooner. I don't know. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think if we're going to have the royal family let me take that back. We don't necessarily know we're going to see Elaine, Gowan, Galad, and probably Elida. But Elaine will be at the White Tower training. Galad and Gowan will be training at the White Tower. Elida and Aghdashloo will be at the White Tower. So we may not actually see like Morghese, Gareth Bryn.
Because possibly they go in season 4 or something. But
not till like season 4. So we might not actually see Camelin until season 4.
It's possible, yeah.
It's possible. And then they kind of compress all the Camelin stuff from the later series probably into one season.
Yeah.
Use those sets as much as possible.
By the way, how high are your hopes for season 2? About 50% of you said high, about 45% said tempered, and I think there was a couple percent said low at this point that are here hanging out with us. So, okay. So let me quickly jump to some news. We'll get our next caller in here. One of the things that I think this was from, I think I have this up on the screen. Let me show everybody here. So a Twitter user here saw this. I don't know this actor, but apparently he's in season 2 of The Wheel of Time. Anyone have more info on this? And then his name is Stuart Moore. So yes, Stuart Moore here that you see. This was from an article. From this article, if you go here, the Press and Journal, they talk about he's a graphic artist, I think, a writer, and happens to kind of do some acting on the side. And one of the comments from this said they're looking for an actor. He said this: they're looking for an actor who could ride a horse. And I trained on horses for Narnia, so all of a sudden I'm riding a black horse through a Czech forest in the cold midnight air. I'm in season 2, episode 5. I'd get in trouble if I told you my character's name, but it's a fairly memorable scene. So a fairly memorable scene. I couldn't tell if he meant like the show is a fairly memorable scene, or if he knows.
Or if he is memorable for him.
Like, it's memorable, or if he was saying it's memorable from the actual books themselves. So this is kind of an unknown. We don't know who this person's playing, but yeah, riding a black horse through a Czech forest in the cold midnight air. Season 2, episode 5. I'd get in trouble if I told you my character's name, but it's a fairly memorable scene. Clearly the character name is probably one that we're familiar with, and that's why he'd probably get in trouble there. That's my guess. And then Redanian Intelligence actually mentioned that some other unknown roles. Laura Crowhurst is one of the unknown roles here. And then also, let me show you a picture of Laura. Some people, again, kind of unknown. We don't know what role Laura is playing here, but this is Laura. I think this is Laura Crowhurst. And according to WoTSeries, she had not yet started filming for The Wheel of Time as of the time of the Redanian Intelligence article in mid-November. So whoever Laura's playing is coming into play after that. So possibly in one of the later episodes of the season, but it's kind of unknown at this point. And then there's a Natasha Murley here, and we don't know. I think this is also from Redanian Intelligence. We don't know what role Natasha's playing, but it ended her filming by the time of that article in November. So we're starting to get a lot of faces. Yeah,
there's a lot of faces.
A lot of faces, a lot of names to try to keep up with. What's funny is we'll know those names. When I was talking to Brandon doing that live reactions to the last episode of season 1. I mentioned, like, he was like, yeah, there's that actor. And I mentioned the actor's name. He's like, oh, you know the actor's names. And I was like, well, we talk about this stuff every day. So, yeah, of course.
Which characters do you think these guys play? These people that...
I'm going to go with, White Tower, Aes Sedai.
Just Aes Sedai.
Friends. Some people put Sheriam, perhaps, for, I think I posted... who was it here? Who was the first person Laura.
Laura Cross.
Yeah. Some people said maybe Natasha is playing Fail. Was one of the ideas there. I've seen that, but had ended filming by the time of the article. So it's like weird that Fail wouldn't be part of the later episodes. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible.
I feel like it's more likely that she's one of the named accepted.
Yeah,
like maybe somebody that's teaching the girls, something like that.
I like that idea. Absolutely. Let's bring our next caller, and then there's an article that Amy Ratcliffe did recently, and I thought this was a fun one. This is from Nerdist, and we're going to go through some of the comments from that article here shortly. Let me bring in our next caller who's waiting, and then we'll give away some mugs. I know everyone's kind of waiting for that. I should probably I don't know if we'll be able to get everyone's calls here, everybody, but we'll see what we can do. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hey, it's Anas. How are you guys?
Anas, how you doing, man?
Doing awesome. Great to see Brian at the Dusty Wheel, probably at a table, not at the bar side.
Yeah, exactly. He's not at a bar side right at this moment. So, hey, what's up, Anas? How you been? And what are you calling in about?
Speaking about season 2, book 2 and 3, one of the best parts in book 2, which I think will make the world even bigger, is the Darkfriend social, and I really hope they show that, and they show how the Darkfriends and how that community works. And again, they can show Shamael, show that, that actor that, no one really believes he's dead or gone. So that's a good way of reintroducing that, the shadow's still working, the Darkfriends are still there, and it kind of make the show bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask that. Brian, Darkfriend social, is that like a key scene for season 2 in your mind?
I think so. I think it would be really fun for everybody watching, readers and non-readers, to see potentially dozens of people in various costumes wearing masks and being Darkfriends. Like, obviously Darkfriends. Like, I think non-readers especially will freak out when they see a tinker in a mask, or they see a white cloak there. And then that I think is the moment when most of the viewers, most of the people watching will start going, oh man, this is the Game of Thrones, right? This is the true speculation. And I think that's going to be driving. It's going to mean like, you can't trust anybody. And I think that's going to be a real pivotal moment for the show if they pull that off. So I kind of think they have to have it. If they really want that depth. Yeah, I think they want.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. To me, it's kind of one of those Gawain and Galad with Matt scenes. It's so iconic, but it actually serves even more like world building purposes. Like, that one's just like a fun, iconic moment. This one is just so memorable. It sets things off in a way. Like we said, The Eye of the World, if it was just a standalone book, it would have been forgotten by this point, in my opinion. Like, if that was the only book in this series ever, it's the Great Hunt that really carries the legacy of the Wheel of Time in, and then the Great Dragon Reborn and everything that comes after it. And to me, Darkfriend Social is just it really kicks things off in a way that changes how you feel about the world that these people that you've come to really love are kind of moving into.
Do you think it'll be the cold open of season 2?
I think it should be, but I'm not adapting the whole series. Like, I'm just going like, what would I as a fan think would be a really pivotal, important scene? And that one speaks to me. So, Anas, do you think it should be the cold open of season 2?
Yeah, I think it would be awesome if it's that. I think the other thing they could do is go to book 1 prologue and show the Ilan Morin Tedranai was there.
The prologue?
The prologue. They could show that too, because that's epic too. But the Darkfriend social would be awesome, as the cold open for sure.
Yeah, no, that would be a powerful one too. So
I kind of think they would do that for the finale of season 2. I kind of thought they were going to do that for the finale of season 1. So I was very surprised at the cold open for that. But I think it's kind of it's such an epic scene that it feels like something like a finale type thing rather than a cold open for the beginning of this season.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. When do you think, Anas, what did you vote as far as when the season 2 is going to be? Do you think it's going to be before November ends, or do you think it's going to be a little bit later?
I think it'll be after November. Sorry for the bummer. I just think that I think it needs the time. That's how I feel. I think the more time there is, I think the better product. And I think we'll keep ourselves busy speculating. So, as much as I want it as early as possible, I think the more time to have I think it'll make for a better product.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. Nas, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate you waiting online for us and bringing that to us, man. Hey, we'll see you back in chat, okay?
All right. See ya.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I know we're getting to a longer, again, this is always going to be a longer episode. I'm going to blow through some news here. I'm just going to read a lot of this stuff. I'll throw this up on the screen for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. But if you go read this one, Amy Ratcliffe recently did an article for Nerdist about the sound design. And this was kind of some fun stuff, I think, that came out of the sound design article that I wanted to bring up, but it'll just be really quick here. About ta'veren, they said we shouldn't really say more, but yes, when the protagonists affect the world and do something, yes, there are some triggers in there that are reflective of the one power at times. Shouldn't really say more about where they are really, and there's a balance as to how much we hear them. There was one of the tricky things in the mix with Doug Cooper, the mixer, and Chris Barwell, the picture editor. They're just trying to pick out the point because you perhaps want it to be something someone notices on second listen as opposed to, you don't want to lead the audience too early in the story. So yeah, at certain points there are unexpected, unreal sounds that people may hear. So this is about ta'veren maybe having some sounds. They also talked about the one power, and they wanted something that came from the same source, but be able to be two sides of that, those dynamics. Trying to make it turn on and off was a concept that they had, which I thought was cool. It was like a lightsaber sound they mentioned, and they wanted to kind of make sure that like the sound had an on-off, if that makes sense. And then they talked about fades, which I thought was cool, and Trollocs. Fades, they said it was made of screams and bird screeches and owls and vultures. And then he said, I got my two young kids, or two young boys, but their voices are quite high-pitched because they haven't broken. So I even tried some of their inhales and exhales on the opening and closes as well, just to give it a slightly more weird feeling. That was quite fun, is what they said.
That's pretty cool.
That's a great article. To go read this one that Amy did, just about sounds and the sound design itself. It's funny, these guys are really geeky, and they were like, I could get really geeky about exactly what we did. And they sound like a sound design hardcore fan freaks, so I loved that. So that's a fun one to go look into. And then this is, you've heard me talk about this. Rafe has said a lot of things about season 2 at this point. We've already covered some of them. You should go check out kind of a Nerdist article by Amy Ratcliffe. But one of the ones he talks about was the Dragon Reborn. He said, the later you get into the books, the more they talk about the Dragon Reborn and the Wheel of Time and the cycle of life and the champion of light and what darkness means in a much more philosophical way than it's sometimes handled early on. We're trying to bring that in the show. You'll see a little bit of that at the end of season 1, but then definitely in season 2. And they talk about this idea of, I think they'll get deeper into those things. Hopefully that means prophecy's coming. So... And this is the quote I mentioned about hardcore fan freaks. He said, so we always imagined we'd lose absolute hardcore book fans who've read the series multiple times because the show would be too different from the books. And I'm hoping they pull back on that pedal a little bit as we go on here. If you're worried about Bella, he said she's alive and well in Prague, being ridden by Yosha and Maddie on the regular. So he said that in AMA. And then I think this is a really cool thing that if you have not seen this, you should go check this out. Again, we'll put the link in the description of this video. Let me show you this. This is by Rational Nerd. Did some stats on the first season. And so you have this one right here. This is really cool. Total screen time distribution per character. And if you want to know details, again, you can go check this out. But it kind of really interesting looking at Moiraine and Rand and Egwene here, and Lan and Perrin, and how much time they were on screen. Now, also breaks this down to total show length per character, and you can kind of get a feel for, how basically overall this means that Moiraine was on our screen or in voiceover 40% of the time, Rand 37% of the time, Egwene 32% of the time, and then he's talked about in-scene screen time distribution, and then actually goes to Rand versus Moiraine. Because the distinction here is Moiraine now falls behind Rand as she spent 17 minutes and 13 seconds either on voiceover, asleep, or unconscious, or dead in Rand's dream. So I thought that was a really cool breakdown. Going through these are just so much fun. We probably could do a whole entire show on this. Yeah. But this gives a feel for the type of screen time, and broke down by dead, unconscious, asleep, voice only, and in scene. It's just ridiculous. This is awesome. This is so nerdy. It's so great. Total screen time for main cast per episode. And as far as breaking down main cast, you'll have to...
And this one's interesting because you can see that Rand, who's the second column, actually has a lot more screen time than Moiraine until episode 6, which was a very Moiraine centric episode, and she kind of makes up the difference there, and that's how she winds up on top. So
interesting.
If you were just watching the show, you're like, oh, Rand doesn't do anything. Well, he's got the most time, except for that one episode where Moiraine kind of came ahead there. So.
Oh yeah, because it was like the Moiraine point of view episode, right?
Yeah, that was the very, very gay episode 6 with all of this, Swan and the subtext and the overtext or whatever. It was very, very, very Moiraine centric in there, and so it's really, really that's where she pulled ahead in that thing. So
kind of same look at this, but in screen, versus just on voiceovers, kind of comparing, and Rand pulls ahead a little bit there.
Yep.
Gender distribution here was an interesting one as far as in scene and voice only. Overall, you can see the kind of some overall stats here. Yeah, this is so Brown Aja, as Shane just said in chat. Total screen time per episode. Look at this breakdown. This is ridiculous. This is
it's
so
nuts.
Great.
It's nuts.
Yeah. This is a lot of time spent. Like I said, you should go check this out. We'll put the link in the description for this with explanations. Total time distribution here. Maximum number of named characters in a scene was 13. Didn't even do a named character breakdown. This is so great. And did a total time per episode of like named character. Rational Nerd, amazing job.
It's amazing.
You can go find these. Like I said, we'll put the description or the links in the description of this video afterwards. I just didn't want to end without seeing that. So without all of you seeing that piece, about 200 of you voted on, is the Darkfriend social an important scene for season 2? 83% of you said yes. Yes, it is. I would agree with that. There are some fun fan polls. We don't have time to cover them tonight. Not really news per se, but I did want to cover a couple of these I found really interesting. Tigraine, or Magdalena Sitova, was interviewed by WoTUp. And in her interview, just some fun things, said they did use wires for that memorable scene where she grabs the cape. But she said they used wires to do other things, but they cut those out and just had that one because they wanted it to feel more realistic. But I want to see what some of those were. I want to see what else.
Yeah, I wish they could release those.
Doing. I want to give us those cuts. I want that release. She's not involved in the show at the moment, but her boyfriend is involved, she said. But and she hasn't read the books yet. That was kind of some fun comments. And then Moiraine, we can't cover that. I covered this on Twitter. We won't have time to watch this. But Moiraine said to me during the trailer watch party that she was filming a scene in season 2, and she said it's all about trust. That's right at the heart of it. Who can you trust? And now that we know she's been shielded, I kind of thought about that. Brian, who do you think that Moiraine was filming a scene with and wondering if she could trust that person?
I'm pretty sure she's going crowd surfing here, and she's going to jump off the stage and hope that people catch her. I think that's what's going to happen.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's totally exactly what's happening.
Yeah. She's at Tom's concert. There's a crowd. She jumps in the mosh pit. They move out of the way. Not much trust for us to die here.
Okay, I'm going to have Taylor come in. We're going to give away some mugs here. And while we do that, we'll cover even some final thoughts. I have some final kind of pieces of news from articles that Megan O'Keefe did on Decider. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, we'll have Taylor come in and do the giveaway here shortly. And while he's coming over and setting this up, let me give you this piece of news. This one was from Decider.com. Again, I'll put the link in the description. Megan O'Keefe was talking to Daniel Henny. And Daniel said because people talk about the sword a lot. And he said, so we made some changes to the hilt of the sword to make it reflect more of a Korean culture, which was fun for me. And it was actually easier for me to grip, which made it easier in the fight scenes. So it kind of an interesting, again, I think this is what's happening a lot too, is some of these changes they're making are basically also for kind of integrating our world into the show, which I think is cool. Like this one, for example, the idea that they made it reflect the Korean culture, for Lan. I think that's really, really a fun thing because those little things, that type of stuff doesn't bother me. It's like, I don't care that it doesn't look exactly as designed. So Taylor's adding this here. You just threw it in there, Taylor? Okay, Taylor's working on this right now. And here we go. 1 second while it's loading up, and then you guys can join this raffle. There it is. You can enter the raffle now, and we'll have Taylor come in here. We'll give everybody about 5 minutes, and maybe I'll bring one more caller in for tonight, and then we'll bring that caller in while we wait for the raffle to go on. Thanks for all waiting around for the raffle. There you go. So let me welcome this next caller in. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Holy smokes, this is Jessica Sadai.
Jessica Sadai, how you doing?
Good. I can't believe I got through it, and I can't believe I'm calling.
You made it in. You made it in. So what were you calling about? Did we cover the news item, or was it something you want to talk about for just season 2? Yeah. How has this experience been for you so far?
It's been fantastic. I was going to try my hand at theorizing so everybody could shoot me down. Okay. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, go for it. I love
it.
I'm in.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of theories. I can't do a poll. So I was just thinking that with the storylines, lots of back and forth, do we think that there's a way that Tyr and Falme are going to be kind of smushed together? Do we think that it's possible that those things are going to happen with parallel timelines and somehow they merge together and the battle over Falme somehow happens over Tyr? I also strongly believe the sword has to be in the stone. They've already kind of teased Tyr, so I feel like we're definitely going to get Tyr. But I don't know what all of these other people and yourselves who are good at theorizing might thinking about smashing those two together.
Yeah, Brian. I saw Brian put his thumbs up. So Brian, yeah, go ahead.
That's totally my theory. My theory is that Rand and probably Matt will wind up at Tyr, probably with Moraine, and then the others, the Falme and Talmud Head scene with Egwene, Nynaeve, Perrin, the White Cloaks. All of that stuff, all of that's going to happen at the same time in the show. And then when Rand starts fighting Ba'alzamon, he will appear in the sky above Falme as well. So we don't have to have 3 fights of Rand and Ba'alzamon. We only get the second one, or the third one, I should say, and it gets smushed together and effectively resolves both books 2 and 3. Since Rand doesn't do a whole lot in The Great Hunt as the dragon, right? Like he's really just along for the hunt for the horn, and so he doesn't really. You can kind of just give Rand the book 3 plot, and give Perrin the book 2 plot, and then they're all going to wind up at the same place anyway, Tyr and Falme, and then you just kind of merge those into together. So that's been my theory. I'm glad you agree. Great minds think alike. So good job. Good job.
I mean, but this is a good question, which is, merging some of the storylines, or do you think they'll actually, we won't go to one of those places? Or do you think that we'll get some things happen there and then we'll go maybe to one of those places in another season? What's your feeling like? Is it kind of one or the other? Or do you think that we'll still end up in Falme and still end up in Tyr?
I don't see how we can abandon the Horn storyline, but you guys kind of know the ins and outs so much better than I do. I don't really see how we can abandon it entirely.
They could have the Shanshan land at Tyr. They'd have to go around south and come in kind of a roundabout way than they normally would, and that would allow them to be in Tyr at the same time. But I think that's kind of heavy-handed. I think if the reports in the books show that Rand is in the sky everywhere, not just above Falme, and people everywhere saw him. So I think if he's in Tyr and he appears in the sky above Falme as well, then you can have both places.
Yeah, that would be. I would accept that as a good merge. Yeah, that would work for me. I asked people of this, just a quick poll. About 130 of you voted on this. Will Tyr and Falme storylines be merged in season 2? 68% said yes. I know we didn't clarify exactly what that means, but I think somewhat kind of getting both of those storylines into that would make a lot of sense. Everyone sees Rand, but he's not necessarily there, if you will. I like that. That works for me. It's going to be an interesting one. This one is going to, I think, lead to just as much controversy among hardcore fan freaks as season 1 did, because it's clearly going to do some merging. They're going to try to cover more material, And by doing that, they're not going to give us the entire storylines. It's impossible. So, again, 8 seasons. We have 13 books to go. Basically, I know they said like, oh, we have some stuff from book 2 and book 3. Yeah, but it was basically book 1. So you have like 13 books to go in 7 seasons.
And they're both like journey books. Everybody's journeying in parallel with massive destinations, and it's already spoken to the fact that certain people don't have a lot going on in certain large parts of those books. And so to compress their timelines, it just kind of makes sense to see a lot of 2 and 3 together, I think.
Yeah. We know it sounds like we're getting Kyrian, and we're clearly getting Falma, right? They showed on the map that Tyr's not anywhere. They didn't move Tyr. So Western Shores, we're definitely getting Falma. We're definitely going to get
definitely
Kyrian.
getting Falma.
So I can see getting both of these and kind of make their way down to Tyr and also make their way across to Falma. It'll be interesting to see how they're split up. White Tower makes sense. White Tower plot still going with the Shanchan. Maybe they'll do what Rafe did with remember Rafe talks about this about the end of season 1, where they took all the stuff Rand did and kind of split them into Rand, Perrin, Egwene, and Nynaeve. So I wonder if they'll do some of that. Like if we looked at the end of book 2, The Great Hunt, and said, okay, who does what here, and how could you split that off to other people that might be there or would make sense to be there? And I would not be surprised if we get some of that.
Yeah,
hey, Jessica. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jessica, thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for being. Sorry for the 2 people that are waiting here for us. I won't be able to get your calls in tonight, but thank you for all who called tonight and were able to kind of jump in, and appreciate, Jessica, you waited for us, and thank you for waiting. So we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
Yep,
bye, Jessica.
Okay. Taylor's back. He's ready to pick. He's ready to pick some merch winners here. So hopefully you joined into the raffle if you wanted to potentially win tonight, and hopefully you're here still. So Taylor, we're picking 3 winners tonight, Taylor. By the way, the look on Taylor's face every time I tell people, yeah, we didn't give one away 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. We weren't having a show last week, so we're giving 3 away. It's a triple mug night there, Taylor. You're married now. Deal with it. Okay, pick us some winners. Good luck to everyone out there. Oh, the Dark One's Taint won a mug. The Dark One's Taint. Congratulations to you. Pick our second winner out there. Lazy Turtle is our second winner. So the Dark One's Taint and Lazy Turtle. If you're out there, please get a hold of us on Discord. You can find the link to our Discord channel in the description, or you can find us on social media. That's 2 of you out there. The Dark One's Taint. Hopefully we see you, and hopefully, Lazy Turtle, you're here. Taylor, pick us our final winner. Good luck tonight. Alan Bird is our third winner. So Alan, Lazy Turtle, Alan Bird, Lazy Turtle, and the Dark One's Taint. Hopefully say something in chat if you're in chat, so we know that we gave away a mug to people that were actually here. Let me quickly, Taylor, you done over there? Let me cover this. Quickly, Rant Almore wrote, Rafe said audiences should be able to tell how Fane got the dagger. Is that a soft confirmation? It was Leandrin. So good one, Rant. I hadn't seen that one. If it's figured out people got the dagger, I think that is, Brian, would you agree? That's confirmation.
That makes
Leandrin.
sense.
Yeah, that would make
it's a pretty
sense
good
to
theory.
me. Yeah, I accept that. And Zeus Sedai here. I have 2 more comments. Let's cover these really quick. Zeus Sedai said, Rand is going to need, here we go. Rand is going to need some sword training time so he doesn't stab his foot. Congratulations to Taylor again. Hope you had a great honeymoon. There you go. Great. You've gotten some love, Taylor, tonight. And Jessica Sedai, thank you very much for that tip. Really appreciate that. So cheers to you. And also Beth out there, if you're still here, cheers to you too. Thank you for your tip that you sent earlier, that you said congratulations for Taylor. Sorry we couldn't get that one up on the screen. The Dark One's Taint and Alan Bird. I saw you both in chat. Did Lazy Turtle show up? Oh, Lazy Turtle did. Cool. So congratulations to the 3 of you. Please reach out to me on Discord or social media and let me know. For those of you that have won, you've won mugs in the last month, you haven't been sent those mugs. That's because there hasn't been a sale. And when I kind of batch purchase these things once there's a sale. So as soon as there's a sale, I will batch purchase them all. But please get a hold of me. I will reach out again to all winners from the last month and make sure that you get your mugs here once we buy those. Okay, I think that is it. Brian, did we miss any of the news here? Oh, I did want to, this one's awesome. One of the last ones here. I think this was Amy Ratcliffe too, talking to Daniel Henny. Daniel Henny said, I have pictures. This is about episode 5. I have pictures after that day that I sent my family. I was beating my chest so hard that I didn't realize it, but I had a completely black sternum for a week and a half afterwards.
Yikes.
So, yeah, he was serious about going all in.
Is that a weird flex where he's trying to talk about how strong he is?
That's right. I love it. I love it. We were going to cover some of the kind of fun polls out there, but you can go check those out. Those aren't necessarily news. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it caught you up on the news out there. I'm sure I missed something or messed up something. You can leave in the comments what I missed or messed up. Those are always fun for me to read. Brian, man, thank you for being here. It was awesome hanging out with you.
It's always awesome to hang out with you here and at Barside Chats. And if for anybody out there who hasn't listened to it, Matt and I do a podcast every week or most weeks. Called Barside Chats, where we talk about the Wheel of Time and a whole bunch of other topics with some really fun guests. So check it out, barsidechats.com or anywhere you get your podcast.
Awesome. And just as a reminder, this was a lot of fun. I need to go do this one tonight. Wordle of Time. Brian put this together, and I'm on number 2 here.
Good luck, everybody.
It's not Hearn or Swan. That's for sure. I got 4 more guesses, but I got 2 of the words. So this was a blast tonight. Thank you all for being here. We are going to keep on. I was going to do an episode this Sunday, but unfortunately, I had something come up, and I can't do that. So I need to let my guests know that that's not going to happen. But maybe they're listening right now, and they're like, oh, sure. That won't happen. We'll be back next Wednesday, and then there will be a Sunday episode. And we'll probably do some kind of 2-episode weeks here coming up just to kind of catch us up. We'll be getting into theories. We'll be getting into RJ Notes. We'll be getting into Season 2 speculation of how we think it's all going to end. With all the news that now we've had, we are going to get into metaphysics. That's been such an interesting conversation, and a lot of people have said that Rafe's broken the metaphysics, basically broken the Wheel of Time at this point. So we're going to look at metaphysics and try to talk through what we know, what we don't know, and how what rules they've come up with so far and what they've changed in the Wheel of Time. So we'll be talking metaphysics because I love talking metaphysics. So that'll be fun. I think that was it.
That's a lot, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hopefully, yeah. Welcome back to everybody else. And deep dives, yes. Rant on More, we're doing some deep dives. We're doing some Becoming episodes. We needed to obviously tackle Varen and Lanfear and Elaine and some of the actors and roles that we haven't. So we'll be doing those too. So thanks, everybody. Congratulations to Taylor, too. I appreciate that. I see some love in chat for you, Taylor.
Tay-tay.
Do you want to wave quickly hi to the audience here? There's everyone's here to see you. That's why everyone showed up tonight. They were like disappointed. Can I fade us out? Can you fade us out? Yeah, you can. You want me to get rid of Brian?
No. Bye, everybody.
No, he's going to go right there. There you go. You want to fade us out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
So
it's been a while.
It has been a while. But welcome back and congratulations.
I'm like Brian's body.
Brian's body, yeah.
Look at me, I'm buff. Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. So you want to fade us out?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll do it.
Thanks, everybody. As we say around here.
Wait. Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, you see it.
Cool.
As we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel and smash the black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you. You're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the 2 rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So.
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad. I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Harold's like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
this is not just a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi elements.
And just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guests in here with me, and
probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no.